McCloud of the Clan McCloud.
My name is Ichabod Crane.
Name's MacGyver. Colonel Jack O'Neill, SG-1.
I am Batman!
Hello, I'm the Doctor.
So there's this man, he has a time machine. Up and down history he goes, zip, 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 getting into scrapes.
For years, and maybe more than that, right, Mac? But how long has it been? Has it been 6, 7 years ago?
Are you telling me that you built a time machine? Out of a DeLorean?
Hey, now wait a minute. Now wait just a minute.
Human beings were not meant to sit in little cubicles staring at computer screens all day.
I've got something for you.
Oh, merci, Sonor. Just one more thing, sir.
Oh, boy.
Just like that. Bing, bang, boom.
At this point, I'd settle for the boom.
They'd love it here, don't you think?
This is what I'm saying.
And by the way, where is your podcast? Tell everybody that's here.
Welcome to the Never Gets Old podcast. The podcast of all we love in TV, movies, music, and comics. With your hosts, Mac Jackson and Nathan Shell. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Facebook, and YouTube. Donations at paypal.com, at macwjackson@comcast.net.
Listen to my taping songs, DJ saying that they're too long. His guitar may be silenced, but his soul goes on and on. Lord again, oh Lord again. His stories were like us, the beginning and its end, alone again. Now I listen in my room.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Never Gets Old podcast. We are doing a live episode, so if this goes well, maybe we'll do more. If it doesn't, maybe we'll still do them. I'm paying $20 a month, so we're doing them.
Wind.
I got my buddy Scott Tipton with me, and I was waiting. I couldn't wait to tell you, Scott. I love that you sent me the thing to remind me that we have to do one of these, because obviously we have fun. And I was looking, I swear this isn't a thing. I'm not lying. I was looking at my phone thinking, gotta bug Scott. I miss him, and I don't want to be a pest, but I think and as I'm looking at the phone, contemplating it, because it had been on my mind for a while, you send that, and it pops up, and I laugh so hard. I'm like, yeah, he gets it. He gets it. And I love that you did, because we're
cut to the Jack Kirby panel. To me, my X-Men.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny too, because I, getting all philosophical, and I'm like, my family and I, we watch Mad About You a lot, just because it's so true to life, and we love it. And when there's nothing that we're in the mood to watch, that's your comfort show. You throw that on while you're eating dinner if you don't have more than a half hour, before the kids have to go do whatever they're going to do. And Ira, his cousin, is like his best friend, and he comes and goes. Like, you have people, and it's very much a sitcom thing. If in New York, I doubt this would really happen, because you're not traveling across the city to pop in for 2 seconds and go, oh, you guys are busy. Okay, bye, and leave. Like, no. I just spent a lot of money, got over here. I'm staying. I don't care what's happening.
You do it on Earth Seinfeld, New York, where everybody runs into everybody on the street all the time.
Exactly. Right.
In real New York, not so much.
No, and because you're not even looking up.
Yeah.
I know from when I visit New York, you keep your head down, you get to where you have to go, and don't make eye contact, because somebody's going to try and sell you something.
Yeah, and all I can think is, man, everything smells like pee all the time. What's going on?
Well, we're watching that, and I said to the family, you know what? I wish I had that. I wish I had friends that could do the drop-in, or, you can call up and do something with at the drop of a hat. And you have friends, and I think you'll get this. I got all philosophical, and I was like, the friends, when you have typical friends, a lot of the time it's going, okay, so here's what's new with me. I'm telling you about me, and hopefully somewhere in there you connect on a TV show or music, and now you have a thing to bond over.
Right.
Right. And that's basically what a friendship is. It's them telling you about them, and or back and forth, hoping to find something. And along the way, hoping you're not getting too aggravated with their little goofiness. Well, I said, I wish I had that. Because I have a buddy across the street, but he's got 3 kids and his wife works all the time. So he's got to watch them. So he's not available. And when we do catch up, it's catching up. It's a lot of, here's what's new with me.
Right.
And then you go, okay, we got to go. And then that's it. But Dana Gould pointed out something that he always says, his people, like when you find your people, it's magical because you cut through all that crap. You don't have to do the interview part anymore. There's an understanding and you can go forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's finding your tribe.
Thank you. And I have that with you, with Nate. Here's the problem. You're in California. he's 2 hours away.
Yeah, pop-ins are problematic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I was relieved and happy to say, no, I got my people. I got, someone who understands the greatness of a superpowers action figure. And we can get into deep conversation. Our first conversation, I was like, him. This guy. Love him, don't want him to be in California. The greedy side of me wishes, like, can he just move next door? That'd be, But at the same time, I try not to be a pest because, on the greedy side, I'd love to do this with you all the time. But 1, you're working. 2, you're vacationing. So I watch your Facebook and I go, now? Should I bug him now? Because I know we're never at a loss for conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Which is why I just went live and we're going to go, okay, here we go. We don't know how long this is going to, we don't care. My Friday is free. Yeah. And which is wonderful. And I just wanted to mention to you how much I love that we were on the same, like, I need to text him.
Exactly.
Right? Because I do feel that feeling of, no, too much time. We have too much to catch up on.
It's time for a deep nerd chat.
Yeah. And not everybody would get that because a lot of times you're saying stuff to people and they're going, oh, that's nice for you. They don't quite get it. They're not, okay. So it's nice when you find your tribe.
Absolutely. Can I kick things off with a quick Black Friday story?
Please do.
So it's last night. Waking up from the turkey coma, and I'm ready because it's 8:45 p.m. Pacific time, which means it's 11:45 on the East Coast. And at midnight, the Lego Avengers Tower goes up for sale. Have you seen this thing?
I feel like I did when they were prototyping it, or when they were like, "Look,
it's so big, you can park a Quinjet on the accurate landing pad at the top of the tower." It's got all this. It opens up all the scenes from all the movies. It comes with a Robert Redford figure.
Get out of here! Really?
From the end of Endgame, yes.
Wow.
So I'm like, all right, I gotta have this thing. So I'm on the Lego site at like 11:50. Just I've done the Comic-Con thing. I know my refresh month.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden at 11:58, it kicks me out into a queue. So I'm like, oh, this is not good. And I thought the price tag on this thing it's significant.
Sure.
I thought that might be enough of a barrier I could slip it and get this thing before it sells out.
Right.
No. So it kicks me out. I'm frantically trying to get back in at 12:08 Eastern time. Get it, put it in my cart, hit the button. Oh, there's an error. You have to try again.
Oh.
All right. Go back. Site crashes.
Oh.
People crash the site trying to get this thing. And now the next 20 minutes, it's just nothing. It's all I get is a blank screen. And I'm thinking, all right, because I'm going to get this thing in like March now. Just don't worry. And then wait a minute, because in my secret identity, that when I'm not doing all the nerd stuff, I'm in advertising, so I know a bit of the back end of stuff. And I thought, wait a minute, all of our clients have the server for their websites, and then the mobile server is different. I can buy this on my phone. Grab my phone. 5 minutes later, Avengers Tower.
Oh, good.
I'm in the house.
They nail you for it?
I'm sorry?
Did they nail you for it?
For which?
The price.
Oh, it's pricey. I'm not saying it's not pricey.
Well, it's Lego, so you get
small Lego is pricey. Imagine what a 5,000 piece.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Wow.
I mean, it comes with like 30 minifigures. It's ridiculous.
And it should.
Yeah, exactly.
For that, wow.
There's even a Kevin Feige minifigure.
Kevin Feige. Yeah. It kills me too, because who doesn't love Lego?
Yeah.
And this is before they licensed good stuff.
Yeah.
Like I was a kid, and you always see commercials for Lego, and one Christmas I said, I'd like a Lego set. So my parents got me a police station. Look, I'm gonna do Legos, woo! And I spent Christmas Day on the floor putting that sucker together. My friend came over. He's like, all right, yeah, come here, help me. And it was fun, and we put it together, and then you got to put it somewhere.
Yeah, trust me, that is the problem with Lego.
And I go, okay. And also, by the way, it's going to fall apart real easy if somebody bumps it or whatever, be careful. So we take it up and we put it in my room. When I remember, it was next to my bed, under the window, where I could look at it. Isn't that nice? And, once you're done with Lego, you've done your Lego. Now it's just a matter of maintaining it.
Yes.
Well, I come home from school a couple days later. Where's my Legos?
Oh, no.
My mother goes, I cleaned your room. It's over there. Because what my mother would do, and to one degree I appreciate it, because she's always been very thorough at cleaning and dusting. And, she was that housewife who everything has to be spotless.
Right.
The bad side is, and this makes me cringe the rest of my life, she doesn't treat my stuff well. So my original comics, she would stack on top of or under everything else. So when the pile would shift, it would pull away from the staples.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah. I just bought, not to sidetrack, but I just bought, because I couldn't find it digitally, Marvel Team Up with Daredevil and Spider-Man 123, because it was my first introduction to Daredevil. And it was very important to me. Well, I spent some money to get it.
Yeah.
And because my mother, with the cover, and and I'm sure I have the original one packed up somewhere in the attic, which I'm trying to go through all my boxes. It'd be
those important key books, and not key books for the rest of the world, but key books from your childhood.
Yeah.
That's what my partner at Blast Off used to call Power Totem. You want that because it's yours and it means something to you, and you got to have it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I have no compunctions about rebuying stuff like that, because that's a key issue for me. And I can get a nice glossy new copy of it. Oh, absolutely. I'll do it.
Sure. Yeah. And well, I try to get them digitally. So, that way nobody's going to wreck them.
Yeah.
But in this case, I'm like, until Marvel finally puts it on Comixology, I don't know why they skipped from like 120 to 128. All those.
I don't think anybody even knows what or has a plan for Comixology for digital stuff for Marvel.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, Mom, where's the Legos? What'd you do with them? Oh, they're over there. Well, she piled crap on them, and the thing's falling apart, and all the Legos are everywhere. Like, like I use the box as the base because they give you the platform, but the box will contain it, because I understand that little Legos are going to fall off. I'm like 10, but I understand this already. I know how easy things are going to get lost.
Yeah.
And if a dog gets it, you know.
Yeah. The one I had as a kid was the Lego Moon Base.
Okay.
It had you got one big gray slat base plate, but it had like a crater on the side. So you knew that one came from the moon set.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think that Lego moon set came with every house in the 70s. You know,
sure it did. Yeah.
It too.
That's typically your starter right there.
Yeah.
Well, mine came with a little motorcycle and I think a cop car.
Yeah, nice.
And maybe two guys, I think. One for the motorcycle, one for the cop car. But yeah, so I was like, it's falling apart. Like I used to have big arguments with my mother and she never got it. Like I'm like, you cannot treat my stuff like crap. As a matter of fact, a whole bunch of stuff in the attic I know she got rid of on me. Didn't think I'd notice. Oh, he'll never notice. It's gone. I'm laying in bed at night going, oh. So like you said, if I ever see certain things again,
yeah,
I have to buy. Again, I'm 48. I don't need these toys, but again, totem. I have to rebuy Jabba the Hutt.
You want the classic Kenner?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I came home one day, and my Jabba the Hutt was under that window. I went. She goes, "Yeah, I cleaned your room." Okay, great. I think I put everything back right. All right, where's Jabba? Jabba had the platform that he sat on.
That was a big set.
And it opened up, and not the Sarlacc pit, but the pit was there, Rancor. And, you know, all you could do is lay the guy sideways. It wasn't a pit. It was just open up, trapdoor. He lays there, the thing comes back up.
Yeah.
And
because it's funny because the box included as a feature, drop figures into the pit. It's like, well, what, are you going to make Jabba move? Who's having that conversation with him?
Right? Like, no, he's sitting on top of it.
Yeah.
And then how many times can
a much more unpleasant prison cell?
Yeah.
If Jabba,
oh man, he's got gas.
I'd rather be with a Rancor, thank you.
And the how many times can I have poor Luke keep falling into this pit? He looks like an idiot.
Yes.
So, but I'm like, where's Jabba? Oh, I got rid of him. I didn't think he played with him anymore. Oh. So someday I will find. It's so funny. There was near my house. There was a used I don't want to call it antique, but basically a clutter store. And in the window they had a Jabba the Hutt. And it was when they reissued them, 10 years ago or whatever, maybe more, 20. So I could see the difference in the paint job, but I'd still get them because it's the same figure essentially. And my son and I, Mikey, were walking by, and I go, "Oh, they have a Jabba the Hutt right there in the window. They're not open. I'll have to come back when they're open." So every day driving home, I look, store's never open. Well, now it's gone because the guy never bothered to open it. Like he had a store.
Yeah.
Landlord said, "You gonna pay the rent?" Probably, and he went, like you haven't been open." No.
That's the sad deal of a lot of small town toy and comic shops is that that every time I want to go in there, they're closed. Like, well, I'm trying to give you money. Please.
Right.
Hasbro doesn't do a lot with the classic 3 3/4 scale Star Wars figures anymore, but they still do some stuff. And when they do stuff, they go big. This year they put out Jabba's throne room from the Book of Boba Fett.
Yes.
What they wisely did is in the front there's the section where Boba Fett's throne is. You can take that out and put in your Jabba the Hutt.
Oh, really?
It's really well done.
That's smart.
Yeah.
I was thrilled to see it.
Yeah, it's sitting over here. I have not opened it up yet because, again, it's gonna be huge, and I haven't figured out quite where to land it yet.
Yeah, yeah.
But Hasbro goes when Hasbro does do a vintage style Star Wars thing, they go crazy with it. Like I don't know if you've seen this. They did Mando's new ship.
Wow,
this thing is
the newer one.
Crazy detailed.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
The hatch opens up. You can stow all his stuff in the back. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
I respect that when they do decide to do classic things, they really, really focus up on it.
Well, as you know, because I keep you in the loop, I gave in to. Well, I thought it was logical to not get toys, even though I think they're great. And you try to resist. I'm 48. You know, I'm not playing with toys anymore. But what happened was I watch it's called Serpentor's Lair. It's on Twitter. It's their handle, Serpentor's Lair. And they basically just repost classic G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
And then they'll put them out in the like, it looks like they're actually trudging through a creek, but you know, it's only a stream that they put the guy. Yeah. But it's great for your imagination. And I went through this whole, I think we probably talked about it in the past, that whole, oh, I missed that. I love G.I. Joe. Oh, they were great. And, you know, you had so many guys you can get, and they always had new vehicles. And, oh, it was such a great toy line. Other than Superpowers, I think G.I. Joe is my next favorite. Granted, I got Transformers and He-Man and blah, blah, blah. But G.I. Joe really paid off.
Even more so than Star Wars, G.I. Joe leaned into vehicles in such a crazy way. Right. Where every year there would be, you know, maybe like a half a dozen to a dozen new vehicles, which is nuts for a toy line. Mm-hmm. Knowing what I know now about production and tooling, what they were spending to make it happen means sales must have been insanely good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't do something as risky as an aircraft carrier if you're not confident people are going to come buy it.
Well, and that's the thing too. That's one of the things that they constantly post. They're like, hey, whose parents love them enough to give them this? And they would show that.
Yeah.
And you're just like, yeah, that's a lot of money. And no, the greedy side of you wants it, but the practical side goes, where am I going to put it? You know what I mean? Like that's a person size. You want to have a person laying in your living room?
I didn't get one, not because my parents didn't want to spend the money. It's because my mom refused to get something that big in the house. Right. I mean, I had to do a separate plea bargain deal with my dad to get my AT-ATs.
Well, the AT-AT I get. And see, and for me, think about that. A lot of it is just for the plane to land.
Yeah.
The stuff in the back to play with where the guy goes up and down the steps, it's
not really honestly, as a playset, the USS Flag is kind of underwhelming once I can look at it. Because it's the wow factor of that size where you can park 2 Sky Strikers on it. But in terms of what it brings to the table, because guess what? It's a table. Right. It's not that much.
It really is.
The Cobra terror drone.
Have it?
Me too. That thing is amazing because you get it's like double levels. You get the whole control level up top. Down below, that you gas up your Jeeps in it, so every space is usable. And then that cone irises out like a Bond villain, and the jet is that.
And you get another guy, the Viper.
You get the Firebat pilot. Yeah,
and he looked cool. And I love the fact that the wings were closed, and then as you take off, you could have them open.
That Terradrome is amazing.
That was great. And the other thing, I wanted to get the good guys sort of hideout.
The first one, the one where you had where you parked the vamp, or which one?
No, I didn't have that one. The pit, I guess it's supposed to be, but I didn't get that one. I'm kind of glad I didn't. I mean, there's part of me that would go, oh, it is the official hideout.
I like that one for nostalgia's sake, but as a headquarters, it was a little lacking.
You know which one I got? The mobile one, the big brown thing.
The one that looks like a toolbox with treads.
Yes,
that thing's amazing.
I know, because it opens up to 3 levels.
Yeah, I never even saw that as a kid. The first time I saw that was on a YouTube video, and I was like, "How did I miss that?"
Yeah. I saw it, and I'm like, I want that because I could tell it's quality, and I could do a lot with it. And look, it's just a vehicle. Get it, please. And so, I did well. My first vehicle from G.I. Joe, as much as I wanted the Jeep and the motorcycle, which I really, really did, because you could hop anybody on a motorcycle or in a Jeep. I got the tank. The green tank, and that son of a bee could crawl over just about it. I spent so many hours setting up guys to have them get run over.
Yeah. The biggest Joe vehicle I got as a kid was the killer whale, the hovercraft.
I wanted that because of that thing that shot out from the bottom.
That shoots out of the front. There's like tons of room for troops. And it had like the great pilot wearing like a baseball hat and an orange vest.
Yeah, Cutter.
It's very well done.
Well, I also got the Wild Bill in his helicopter.
Oh, the Dragonfly,
and the little button on the side to make the thing go. These are great toys.
Have you seen the remake of the Dragonfly?
I have. Well,
this is for the new classified line, which is 6-inch. So
I know
it's like twice as big. I saw it at the most recent prototype at Comic-Con. It's enormous and it looks amazing.
And I love that they're making them, because here's where I was going with this. As much as I see those clips and the pictures and blah, 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 and they show the old classic commercials.
Yes.
So I get that feeling of, oh, I remember that. Oh, I want that. And, you ever notice that the kids in these commercials don't play with them like real kids?
No, of course not.
But yet the way that they do it, it makes you envious, because they're like, oh, Joe, and he comes down and he'll like skid sideways and have him hop off. And when I remember being a kid and going, this isn't how we play. These guys are like being instructed to do it a certain way. But it worked because I wanted it so bad. So I'm thinking, maybe someday I'll go up into the attic, get my G.I. Joes, and start putting a new O-ring on them. I don't know. Well, God bless them. They start coming out with the 6-inch figures.
Yeah.
It makes the originals look like crap.
It's a great line. But at the same time, and as it's gone on, it's gotten more and more so, every line gets more faithful to the originals. The very first batch were a bit too sci-fi. Now they're packing as much like vintage style on these things,
which is great. Because I was talking to my buddy Nick Nero, who he actually was the one who got me to do this podcast. He is a big toy guy too, and he's like, yeah, I showed him what I got, and he's like, yeah, I'll wait for Duke when it doesn't have the metal shins on it, and da 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 da. And I'm like, okay, well, if they get there, great. In the meantime, I'm getting Tiger Force Duke because he's got the green jacket. And, that way when they do come out with, which they are, classic animated Duke at 6-inch, because they also do a 7-inch, which I think is too big. Then I can at least have both type of Duke.
Yeah.
But what happened for me was this is what being an adult is. Resisting the urge to buy everything that you want, because I want a lot. When I see like even Funkos, I don't get the villain.
All I'm hearing is pops and whistles. I don't understand that at all. But whatever.
Exactly. Well, see, you understand.
You started saying that, and all of a sudden I heard Charlie Brown's teacher. Wah, wah, wah.
Well, okay, but here's my mentality of what I'm trying. Because again, I'd be broke. I have to be resistant. And what happened was I'm sitting in my chair and I look and they have He-Man, the standing up straight He-Man with the sword that can be held. Okay, you'll get this. As much as I love my He-Man figures, that squatting pose where nothing bends and you can only do this and their legs never straighten drove me nuts. And I swore to myself, if I ever got a good He-Man. Oh, and the other thing was in the animated series, they always had him shing. Yeah. He had that thing in the back to pull out the sword. He had a holder.
Yeah.
If they ever come out with something like that, I am freaking getting it. Well, I'm looking at my phone and Target had it for like $10. And this guy's bigger than 6-inch because he's He-Man. So I think, all right, that'll work. But for $10, I'd be a fool not to get them. So I checked with my wife, Cindy, can I get this? Yep. Okay. And I do. Well, now that unravels my, you know what I also really, really always want? Certain G.I. Joes that I know are out right now that are 6-inch, and they're excellent because they have the holder for the gun and a knife and a.
There's almost 100 of those G.I. Joes out now, believe it or not. And I think with only one or two exceptions, they can all carry all their gear on the figure.
Yes.
I so love the commitment to that level of nerdiness by those designers. It's great.
Right? I love it. This is what I dreamed of, because as a kid, you go, all right, here's Hawk. He has a gun on his hip, but you can't use it because it's
Yes.
part of the mold.
Well, a molded pistol is the worst on an action figure.
I know.
The Mego Buck Rogers line when I was a kid, all the guns were like glued in the holsters.
Oh God, that's brutal.
Although, I mean, to be fair, on Buck Rogers, as a kid, he never picked up a gun. He would knock a guy out and then run down the corridor and leave the guy's gun behind. Take the gun! My dad and I constantly yelling at Buck Rogers to take the gun. No, I'll do more karate around the corner.
Well, it was the 70s, early 80s. So, you know.
But yeah, that Joe line is amazing. I've got the hiss coming probably this month because I love that design on the hiss, and this thing is incredible.
Well, I went, you know what? All right, I'm going to allow myself to get certain figures. As cool as so many of the bad guys are, I'm not going to get the bad guys because I'm not going to play with them. You understand why we get toys. When you become an adult, it's not that you don't want to play with them. It's just that playing with action figures isn't enough anymore, which is why you and I write.
Yeah.
Because to go pew, 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 doesn't do enough. You want to craft a story. You want it to last. You don't want to just go, okay, and put them down and you forgot and it's out of sight, out of mind. You want something that lasts. So now you switch to writing. Well, at the same time, you love holding the physical embodiment of a character that you love.
Yeah.
It's inspiring for your creativity. And you just can admire the craftsmanship too.
Yeah, and then me having dipped my toes in the production side of things, working with Toynami for so many years, I love just the physicalness of of admiring a really well done figure and how they're handling the articulation and how they're handling the accessories and how much better sculpts are and paints. And I can't believe you're not buying any of the Cobra figures. I couldn't do G.I. Joe, and now the Cobras were the best designs.
I'm fighting it. I never got a steel-faced or a hooded Cobra Commander. I had to do the battle armor when I finally found them.
Oh, the worst of the three.
Yeah, but it was still a Cobra. Actually, it's not the worst. It might be the third best because the worst was the one that came after it.
Fair point.
Oh. But okay, so now I always wanted Snake Eyes, of course. I had to go with my favorites, and there's like 5 different versions of Snake Eyes.
Yeah.
I got the best one. I got the one that comes with Timber, where he's got the baggier pants. They're dark green pants. Yeah. He's got the sword. He's got many guns. He's got knives. And he's got the scarf.
It's more the visor and not the goggles.
Visor is key. That is key. You got to do the visor over the goggles. However, to be fair, the 6-inch, ones from the original with the goggles, it's still amazing looking because they do one where his top looks like a sweater.
Yeah.
Like that military sweater where it has the grip there. And you can actually see the lines of the sweater. That's a beautiful. Then they have one that's more, smooth, tighter to his skin. That's also cool. But again, if you're going to get one, I got the one that I didn't buy Timber. I got it used, which is why I got it cheap. I don't need Timber. I love Timber, but again, what am I going to do with them? He's going to take up room on my shelf.
Yeah.
But give me that Snake Eyes. That is the perfect Snake Eyes. And then I had to get Duke. And then I was like, do I get yellow shirt Duke or Tiger Force? Because Tiger Force has a green shirt, which is very military and close to like a Jack O'Neill kind of look.
You got to have that yellow shirt.
Well, I'm glad I waited.
For me.
I'm glad I waited because they're coming out with the good animated yellow. So I'm getting that guy when he comes out. So I decided I'll get the green one for now because it's cheap. And, if that's the one that would come with the Tiger motorcycle.
Right.
I didn't get the motorcycle because I got it used. Thus the low price.
Yeah.
And one of my favorites that I had to get, and it's such an excellent figure, Outback. Outback, I always loved because he's the outdoorsman. He's wearing a T-shirt. He's got the backpack. He's very grounded, and I went with the Tiger Force one because the shirt, instead of being white and saying survival, which always bothered me because
on the nose.
Right. And it's a white shirt.
Like at the shipwreck figure wore a shirt that said boat on it.
Yeah. Like a white shirt, you're a military man. I know I'm not a military man, and I can't wear white t-shirts because they'll become yellow stained t-shirts in a half hour. So I got the Tiger Force one, which is an orange shirt with a tiger on it, like a tiger head, and they gave him gray hair.
Yeah, no, he looks more haggard.
I love it because you're an outdoorsman. You shouldn't be. Oh, this is no. I prefer to be in the woods.
Okay, that Outback has seen some things.
Exactly, and his gun is taped.
Yeah,
like in the handle. So I got him, and I have him like this, holding the knife that way, and using it to hold the gun.
Yeah.
At the moment, like I posed them, in my room. So I got those guys. And I thought, okay, that's good for now. Well, then I made the mistake a couple months ago, maybe a month ago, of going to Ollie's.
That's a East Coast discount chain, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So picture it where you are, whatever it's called, that you're getting something. You're getting something whether you wanted it or not.
Yeah.
Because I'm walking around and they have the great Marvel action figures, and I got the white Vision.
Oh yeah.
Right. I got Vision. I got Han Solo from what was the last one he was in? The older Han Solo.
Force Awakens.
Yeah, Force Awakens. I got that action figure because I already bought, you already know this. I got 4 Indiana Jones 6-inch figures because I've waited my entire life for that.
That line's great.
Oh, isn't it? My son got I let him, instead of me buying it too, he got the one with the tie.
Yeah.
From Last Crusade.
Yeah.
Well, I love them and I'm thrilled. Well, I thought I'll get Han in the leather jacket because he stands right next to Indy.
Yeah.
And it looks great.
That's cool.
So I thought, okay, I got Han, I got Vision. I was gonna get another one, but I went, no, you know what? That's enough. Wait a minute. And the guy's walking by. He's like, excuse me. Do you have G.I. Joe? He goes, he looks around. Back aisle, middle display, hidden behind the boxes. Like as though it's some trade secret.
Yeah, I like the way he leans in. Would you like to buy an O?
Opening the coat.
Yeah.
And so, nice reference, by the way.
Thank you.
Not everybody's going to get that. But all right, so I'm searching around, and they had Lego G.I. Joe. You can get like a copter or something.
Yeah.
I can get it, but I'm like, all right, I just want to see what they have because people on Twitter are posting, look what I can't believe they have Chuckles at, whatever. And Chuckles is another one that I'm resisting getting, but I always loved him because he was so grounded. Like by the time Chuckles came out, G.I. Joe, the designs of the figures were aggravating because they weren't military anymore.
Yeah.
They would go sci-fi. And
we're leaning much more into sci-fi and supers, which was more my bread and butter. So there's a sweet spot between the first, which were more conventional military, and at the end where it just got crazy when he had like Cobra Law with dudes who were like half snake.
Right.
But the middle sweet spot where you get Serpentor. And
I got a Serpentor at the time.
He's riding on that big snake sky sled. Oh, come on.
Loved it. Huh?
And you had lots of Destro and lots of Baroness, and you had Dr. Mindbender with a big old monocle.
Had him.
That's my Joe.
Right. Me too. I mean, up until then, it was great. But at one point, they didn't even try to make a military anymore. They're like, look, it's a slime. He plays in slime, or, he's wearing a neon space outfit, and they try to do that kind of line.
Yeah, their Star Brigade was terrible, and there's one that was like they're all anti-toxic waste guys, and they're all like glow in the dark. And like, yeah, no.
And poor Larry Hama had to write the comic book, and he was told you have to do these stories with these figures. And like they made Flint be one of those glowy guys. I'm like, no, just stop. Like you're destroying classic characters, but within that, they would give you the occasional good guy.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I'm looking around, and I see they have Lady Jane, who I had to resist because she's an excellent character. You could have her with the hat.
Yeah.
You can have her without the hat. You can have her with the throwing spears. The whole, I mean, I stood there for 15 minutes staring.
And there are only like 5 women in the whole line.
Right. Well, now they're doing more. There's actually, not that I necessarily know who they are. Like there's Helix.
Helix, they just added Helix. See, Helix and Shooter to me both count because they're both Larry Hama characters.
Right, exactly.
They're from the new comics, but if it's from Larry Hama, then they count.
Agreed, 100%. So I look, and who do they have? Stalker.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I hadn't planned on getting Stalker, but I remember being a boy, and when I had gotten a lot of the original figures when they came out with like the original 7. I had Stalker was one of my first, Snake Eyes, the random guys that, not Breaker because he came with the car, but like all the green suited.
Clutch came with the car.
Oh, was it Clutch? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Because Breaker looked just like Clutch. It was almost.
Okay, I did get Breaker. Breaker was the very first guy I had. He had the brown beard.
Yeah.
That's why I get them confused. So Breaker was the very first G.I. Joe I ever opened.
Yeah, he was a communications guy. He had like a backpack.
The thing with the.
Yes.
Well, Stalker was one that I had. Remember, the arms didn't swivel yet.
Yeah, it didn't have a swivel arm.
I had brought him over. Now, this is years later. This is back. I don't know. I could have been in 7th grade. And I went over a classmate's house because we were talking about G.I. Joe. And he goes, oh, yeah, come bring him over. Let's take a look. So one of the guys I bring over is Stalker. And he goes, I'll trade you Stalker for Visor version 2 Snake Eyes and Timber. How do I ever say no to that?
No, I was about to say it's a bad call, but that's a pretty good trade.
It's a great call for me because I made out like a bandit. I got my favorite figure and his wolf sidekick. The best version of Snake Eyes ever.
Yeah,
I got him now. And I had to give away Stalker? Okay, there you go. Next day in school, I said, oh, how's that Stalker treating you? Great. I put him out on the street and had somebody drive over him.
Oh, that hurts.
So it hurts. Now, I know it wasn't my figure anymore. I know, blah, blah, blah. But it's still, you did that to a G.I. Joe. And by the way, it was my G.I. Joe. So that had haunted me all these years. So when I saw Stalker for $8, $8, I say, there's no way I was not getting Stalker.
I love the notion, by the way, of you being haunted by the ghost of Stalker past all these years.
Yeah, I just picture him. No! So I've resurrected Stalker.
Excellent.
So I put on my Christmas list Spirit, because Spirit is always a fan favorite.
You've got the eagle. Got to have the eagle.
And the eagle's cool. But I mean, just the fact that he's got the different blades. He's got the Bowie knife. I'm like, yeah, he's a great figure. I won't get him now. I'll put him on my list and see if Santa brings him. And then they start releasing, the next wave that they're coming out with, Hawk.
Yeah.
I love Hawk. Duke is the leader to me, always, and Hawk.
Yeah.
And that is their ranking too. But they're the guys that I always had call the shots.
Yeah.
And I always loved Hawk with the
bomber jacket.
I'm a sucker for I'm a sucker for good jackets. Well, I'm getting them. I pre-ordered them, and I also pre-ordered. I think he was available for me to pre-order. Another favorite that I've always loved, and I hate that Larry Hama killed him. Quick Kick.
To me, Quick Kick was always a bit too jokey. I mean,
well, in the animated series, they made him an idiot.
Yeah, no, but I mean, once you get a karate guy who's just in a karate outfit, then it's like, well, then you just put him next to to Spirit and Shipwreck, and you got the Village People.
Right, right.
It's too over the top.
For me, it was okay. For me, he was no. If this guy's going to commit to this outfit, that means he's got to be pretty GD good. And then he, you know, and plus he won against Storm Shadow, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, because originally, remember in the animated series, instead of it being Snake Eyes fighting him, they did this big arc with Spirit fighting Storm Shadow.
Right.
That was cool, but I'm like, you're missing the obvious team up there. You go martial art guy against martial art guy. And so when they had Quick Kick fight him, I'm like, yeah, come on. Let's make him legitimate. Don't make him a joke.
He's getting called off the bench.
Because all the other times they have him, I'm eating a Choco bar and I'm doing commercials. I'm like, stop, don't do that. And then I find out that Larry Hama had him die like off panel. He got blown up.
Panel's even worse.
Right? Because they're like, no, you just see in the distance, boom, a big explosion. Like
when they killed poor Admiral Akbar.
Yeah, right. We lost Quick Kick, we lost this guy, we lost that guy. When? That explosion right over there. Like,
terrible.
Oh.
At least, I mean, if I recall, I think even at least Doc got a heroic death.
Yeah, you actually saw him get shot.
Yeah, but
he was trying to help somebody.
Quick, he just got act.
Oh, that was a shame. So I'm hoping in this new series he's writing, or at least in the new Kirkman thing, we get a good Quick Kick that sticks around.
Yeah,
because again, that's always been like on my shoulder of don't kill my guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to me how Hasbro is leaning into vehicles for 6 inch because I never thought they would.
Yeah,
and now we're getting a Vamp too. I just got them on one of those Cobra pods.
Oh yeah, I always wanted that.
Yeah, but the thing I'm dying for them to make, and before I would have said they never would, but I mean I've got a Hiss and a Dragonfly coming in the mail, so it's anything's possible. I want the APC.
The what?
The Armored Personnel Carrier.
Oh, sure.
Because it just holds like 24 Joes.
Yeah, yeah.
With one big seatbelt.
Yeah. Hope nobody has to pee.
We were all getting up.
You're going to put us all in danger just so you can have a little wee.
I mean, Hasbro is doing amazing stuff with that joint.
I'm so amazed and happy just because all right, now technology has caught up to whatever it is that you guys are wanting. You know, same thing like movies and TV. Yeah, we always wanted to have good superhero stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, now the technology is there. Well, it's the same thing with these toys.
Yeah. Well, what Hasbro did with that Indiana Jones line, the 6 inch Indiana Jones line is fantastic.
It really is.
When you get to like a Marcus Brody, Renee Belloc 2-pack, which I would have killed for as a kid. You know?
I know. I have. Is he over there? No, I brought him back upstairs. I had in the Stargate. I had the original 3/4 or whatever scale Indy with the whip with the
with the spring loaded. Yeah,
and I had only seen one Indiana Jones movie. When I saw the toy line, they had him like that. Obviously, the classic look. They had him when he goes into the tomb to get the headpiece or to use the headpiece. They had Toth
the Nazi,
right? And Belloc with the headdress.
Yeah. And there's also a German mechanic.
Yes, there was, but it wasn't in the store at the time. So, and Marion, they had Marion, you know. But I'm like, well, I want to get one of these because I think I like Indiana Jones. I think I'll get him the one with the hat. Well, boy, did I make the right call because next thing you know, I'm like, oh, that is his iconic look. Okay, good. And of course, that was the only time I saw them in the store as a kid. You never saw them afterwards.
Oh, they had such a brief window.
Right. So all these years, I've wanted a good Indiana Jones. Here's the problem with the Indiana Jones figures, though. That clasp for the whip does not close. Yeah. That ticks me off. All you had to do, make a hard hook. Just do a hard hook on the belt. Good enough. But instead, they do it where you can't quite push the thing into
I've bought because they've made like 5 different indies in this new line.
Yes.
Out of the 5, 2 hook really solidly, and 3 years what you're talking about. So it's you're kind of like up to the whims of production on that.
Right. Well, in the last one that they came out with from Last Crusade, they make his hat shift.
Yeah.
So you can either have it be here or more relaxed, like he's resting or whatever.
Right.
Great. I mean, people laugh. People were making videos of how stupid are they for doing. What's the big deal? How about you shut up and appreciate that they're making it?
I know.
Like these videos, these hate videos. You're not doing anything better. Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Try and be part of the resolution. If you don't like it, send a suggestion.
Yeah.
Don't do a hate video, because guess what? They could go, all right, nobody likes these. We're done.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. And that kind of gets to the larger things that we wanted to talk about today was I don't see the time in putting on a video saying how much you hate a Marvel movie.
Thank you. Good segue.
What's the point? I mean, if it's not for you, cool. Guess what? There are tons of movies that aren't for me.
Agreed.
You know what I do? I don't go.
Right.
I don't sit at home and spew venom into my phone and post it on the internet.
Right.
You lean into what you enjoy. Don't waste time on hate.
Well, perfectly said. I that's why I wanted to title this one, can we just freaking enjoy a Marvel movie again? Like, can we be thankful for what we have? Granted, that's not to say you have to accept everything blindly, but at least be appreciative that even if it's not the best thing you've ever seen, be thankful it's there.
I know.
Because we didn't have this before.
I just want to take some of these guys like, you don't understand the desert we were in for decades. Never get any of this stuff.
And if you got anything with their name on it, you'd go, oh, that's embarrassing. That wasn't done well.
Yeah. You get the Punisher movie with Dolph Lundgren where he doesn't wear a skull.
Doesn't wear a skull.
That's what you get.
Or even the one with, what's his face, with John Travolta as the bad guy.
Yeah.
They take from Welcome Home Frank a lot of that story, but the origin of the Punisher, he's in Florida with a family reunion, and you wipe out aunts and uncles and cousins. What did you do that for?
I will say, the next one, War Journal, was great.
So good.
Yeah.
It was so, I'm like, there you go. I know they didn't put any sort of push behind it, which is a shame.
That's a great Punisher movie. And Ray Stevenson, man, he was so good in that.
Right? And you got a good jigsaw.
Yeah, yes.
Like, my wife and I laugh because as much as we love the Marvel TV shows, the jigsaw that they use for season 1 and season 2 of The Punisher, you know, if you're going to have the Punisher drag his face across glass to create the jigsaw character, he still shouldn't be ruggedly handsome with just a couple character scars to say, oh, I'm so hideous. Look at my lavish hair. We'd laugh because the same guy is doing the T-Mobile commercials or whatever. And he's like talking about, oh, I'm so stunning. I'm like, you look the same as you did on The Punisher. They didn't try to ugly you up.
Yeah.
So we laugh because we're like, oh no, I'm hideous.
Well, yeah, I mean, I like with I'm convinced that what we're seeing, because it feels like a calculated wave of like anti-Marvel stuff.
Right.
And I mean, not to get all conspiratorial, but there's that guy who wants back on the Disney board. And he has, the last thing Iger wants is to get him back on the board. And this guy has connections to various Hollywood outlets. And the amount of anti-Marvel stories that have been in Variety for the last month or so.
Yeah.
And just out of just stories that really have no basis. A movie will make the same amount of money as a Marvel movie, and they'll call it a win at the box office. And then the Marvel story, it's a bomb.
Right.
And that's the kind of thing. It's like, wait, this is not, it's not as successful as some of the last few Marvel movies, but
that doesn't make it garbage.
It can't be a bomb here and a flop here if it's making the same amount of money.
Right. Well, that was the point I was making this whole summer is the wave of, before the movie even comes out, critics are going to say it's garbage. Therefore, you've already hurt the legacy of a movie that hasn't even hit our screens yet.
Yeah.
They did it with Indiana Jones. They did it with Flash. And they did it with the Marvels.
Yeah.
We went to all those movies plus more. Anything that's a superhero movie, or obviously Indiana Jones, because I love Indiana Jones. That that's worth us getting out of the house, driving further than we need to go to the movies, spending way too much money to sit in the theater to watch this. Like that, we don't live in the world of willy-nilly, hey, let's go to the movies and just pick what we're going to watch when we get there. Everything is calculated so that it has to be worth it for you to leave. And we loved every freaking movie we saw. And we were prepared to go, we loved everything. Shazam, I'm trying to think of everything. Obviously, Guardians of the Galaxy, anything that came out this year, we were like, we love it. We love it.
But what the studios don't want to admit is that the decline of Marvel Studio stuff over the last year is not because of an overriding lack of quality or dip. It's because they trained audiences to not go to the movie theater by offering everything too quickly and too easily on streaming.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So when a movie is expensive and you're hyped for it, you can go, or you can wait like 6 weeks. And earlier during the pandemic, it was less than that, or even simultaneous.
Yeah.
So they trained audiences to not go to theaters, and now you can't understand why they haven't come back.
Right. Well, that's the thing. They're Amazon is having a debate about for the Stargate franchise. We're long overdue now to hear about a new series. Well, Jennifer Sulky, who's the one in charge of Amazon movies, is still in that old school mentality of it has to be theater. It has to be theater. Theater means more than TV. When it hasn't for the last 20, 30 years, it's either been equal or now TV is better than movies because you get more, and the quality still as good as a theater. The budget, you still have special effects that there's the new Godzilla show, Love of God.
Yeah.
Like, okay. So, but she has that mentality of, no, I'm pushing to have a theater release. Well, guess what? And I had this debate or conversation with Jay on Sidetrack. He had me on. And I pointed out that you already have an established fan base that are telling you what they want. You're not listening to them. I might go to the theater to see a Stargate movie, but now you're asking the general public who were never into it before. We want you to go to the theater and try and catch up for this one. They're not going to do it. They're going to wait 6 weeks, catch it casually on streaming.
Right.
And so they're going to go, oh, the movie bombed, so therefore we won't do anything else with the Stargate franchise. No, you shot yourself in the foot. You have to understand the way the world works now. Movies don't mean squat. You have to go into it knowing people are just going to wait for TV. The fact that anybody goes to the theater is only, why people go to the theater for Marvel movies? To avoid spoilers.
That's a big part of it. And and again, I am a little spoiled living where I live because Los Angeles is such a movie centric town that here everyone's like, well, theatrical is king. You have to go to the movie, and you have to support your theaters. And this town is the home of the best theaters in the country as far as the movie experience, where you're getting specifically sold tickets and recliner seats and amazing pictures and sound. So, here I see everything I can in the theaters because I'm not getting that experience anywhere else.
Right.
But before the pandemic and before they leaned so hard into streaming, you did still see movies make a dent theatrically. But now there's people who've just been trained not to do it.
Right. And on top of it, like I said, the whole idea of, this is really the crux of the problem. Mindless people listening to critics who enjoy being negative to sound like they're the authority on something, who crap on something before it's even out.
Before it even has a chance to create a
consensus.
For there even be any agreement about it. I heard people completely dismissing the new Indiana Jones like weeks before.
Right.
And of course, putting out gigantic videos with awful clickbait titles. why Disney killed Indiana Jones, or just all that kind of just nonsense.
Yep.
And I mean, I make a point never clicking on anything like that stuff, just not to reward the clickbait. Don't feed the trolls.
Yep.
And I guess that is the core of it, is that negative videos are always going to get more clicks and get your numbers up and get you and monetize better. But who has the time for that? Life's short.
And yeah, and I don't want to feel like crap. I don't want to feel I think we talked about this. I said there's so many great shows that are technically great. I'm not going to watch them because you're rooting for bad guys.
Yeah.
You know, when it's over, I don't want to feel bad about myself. I want to be happy. I want to be inspired. I want to feel like, yeah, that was a good hour of my life.
Like, I mean, I'm sure you could tag me as being like, a Marvel apologist, and I'm not.
No.
I just still go out there and campaign on the things that didn't work for me.
And also,
that one didn't work. I did not like at all Love and Thunder.
Okay.
The most recent Thor. There's aspects of it I liked. I thought it leaned way too much into the silly. There were some aspects of it that I thought didn't treat Thor's character and history well. But I didn't go home and just vent about it online and spew venom for an hour online. I just said, maybe the next one's better.
Right, exactly. And also, you're thankful that it was even made, because without it, we'd have nothing.
Yeah.
All right. Let me give you an example.
To use that one for example, for all that I didn't like about Love and Thunder, the fact that at the end you get that Steve Ditko style eternity.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd see that in a movie. That's amazing.
Right.
And like the opening scene with Thor fighting with the Guardians. That's fantastic stuff.
Great.
It's fun. So yeah, even if I don't like, I can usually, there's always one or two things that I never thought I'd get to see on camera, and that's always going to be fun.
But here's the thing with logical people like you and I, you don't, besides not taking joy in not loving something, you're still looking to love something, and you can have a intelligent conversation about it. You're not getting your jollies from saying that you dislike something.
Yeah.
And there's so many people who, I hated it. What a piece of crap that was. Like,
yeah.
You're what are you doing? You're negative. You're not, you put garbage out into the world today, right there. You just did that. That was your contribution to the world. And it's so freaking frustrating to watch this. And I feel like I want to counter every single one and go, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop, because guess what? It could go away. Why is Marvel failing? Marvel's garbage. Is it? Is it? Because it could go away like that, and then you complain, oh, they got rid of Marvel.
Yeah, and also I have no interest in partisan fandom. I'm not a Marvel versus DC guy.
No.
I'm not a Snyderverse or versus Gunn guy.
Mm-hmm.
Make good stuff, I'll like it. Make bad stuff, and I won't. But I don't need to go out there on Twitter and scream at people who disagree with me and prove them wrong, because who's got time for that? And there's no joy in it. There's no joy in it. It's not fun.
Exactly. Well,
and by the way, I love being proved wrong on this stuff, because none of the DC Snyder movies works for me. I didn't like Man of Steel. I really didn't like Superman.
Right.
But then I enjoyed the released Justice League, I think more than most people. But then whenever the gigantic Snyder version of Justice League hit on Max, I was very skeptical. Like, oh God, 4 hours is that? But for one thing, I didn't watch it like a movie. I watched it like a mini.
Right.
I took an hour a night. That was pretty good. I really enjoyed it. I thought I could see what he was doing. That made sense. Now, where he was going with it, I knew I wouldn't have liked.
No, I would have hated it. Hated it.
But I mean, that's the scene that was cut from his Justice League, where you first see Barry Allen, where he's saving
Yes,
Iris.
yeah.
That's the only thing in that movie that makes you like Barry Allen, and the rest of the movie depends on it. Which is why in the theatrical cut, Barry Allen is terrible because you weren't given a chance to like him.
Right. He's just annoying,
and he saves the movie. And same with like Cyborg. I thought Cyborg was kind of a waste in theatrical. In the Snyder movie, he's so much more important, and he gets that big moment at the end that otherwise he's just kind of standing there in the theatrical cut. And so that movie was good. I really enjoyed it. That movie was like 4 hours. It's not a movie, but all right. But and so I mean, if I was just one of these person guys where like all Snyderverse things are bad, I wouldn't have gotten to see those moments, which were great.
And I love that we did get to see it. I love that people, despite all of what you said, like I would have hated. I don't think he cares about the characters himself. I don't think because again, he thinks Superman and Batman kill. And I'm like,
the biggest problem with Snyder is I don't think he really understands or believes in the notion of a hero.
Right.
You know,
right.
I don't think he believes in like a moral absolute.
And he didn't respect the characters enough. He when you touch these characters, you have to understand you are handling a legacy that is much bigger than you.
Yeah.
You know, Denny O'Neil always said, you're the, huh?
You're the caretaker.
You're the caretaker. You're carrying the flame. Don't snuff it out. You know, and that always stuck with me. And I think Snyder wanted to tell a story and happened to use, these guys, but he could have done it with anything. And he really should have done it with something other than established characters, because in that case you go, okay, what you were going to do, we can accept, but you're not killing Batman. You're not making Superman. Oh, poor me. I have to save people.
Well, this is my go-to line about it, but I always go back to it because it kills me. Snyder gave us a Superman whose parents taught him not to help people.
Right. That was so stupid.
That's the only point about Superman that's important. Is raised by kindly parents. Right there in the radio show. Raised by kindly parents, and it's a Superman whose parents taught him not to care.
Yeah. So now he has to struggle with that his entire life. Am I doing the right thing by saving lives? Yeah, you idiot.
Glenn Ford, I know one thing, and that you are here for a reason. Compared to Kevin Costner's, don't help those people. Get back in the house.
As a matter of fact, don't help me. I'm gonna get.
No. I let the tornado get me.
Right? Like, what?
And like, Dad, I'm super fast. I could come get you.
Nobody's gonna see me. Yeah, nobody's gonna see me save you. But anyway,
that movie. Oh man!
Also, when you find out what he was going to do with it, he would have ended the Justice League in 3 movies.
Yeah,
there would have been no DC universe. There's no way you can do a DC universe if you do time jumps to 5 years later to 25 years later. Because I read what it was going to be.
Yeah, it's not good.
You can't do. Yeah, and the whole idea, like, let's start off Batman older with white in his hair. Yeah. Done. No. Now Ben Affleck did an excellent job, and in the Flash,
I thought he got better every time he got a chance at it.
Yeah, and I love that he was in the Flash, and they gave him the black hair. They didn't put any gray in it. I'm like, good, we're fixing that. And in the first 10 minutes of the Flash, we got the Justice League we should have gotten.
Yeah, honestly,
right? I mean, that was exciting. That was fun. They were a team. I was like, there, more of that. Oh, we're not getting more of. Okay, well. It was excellent. I was so happy.
Flash got a bum rap. I mean, and I'm saying this as somebody who I'm never a fan of that actor.
Sure.
I don't think he's really good as Barry Allen.
Right. He's not Barry Allen.
Yeah.
He's not even Wally West.
There were some weird choices made in the Flash. I'm not sure all of a sudden Flash has this Italian mother. I mean, Barry Allen is so mayonnaise white. He's like the whitest guy in Kansas. Yep. And all of a sudden, this was, my little Barry, come into the house and we're making pasta.
Yeah, we're going to make it a sauce.
It's so weird. It's just so weird and out of nowhere. And also, it was funny. I didn't realize that they changed actors on his father.
Oh, okay.
Before it was, I forget it was the same guy who played Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
He was a good looking dude.
Sure.
And in the Flash, it's the guy from Office Space.
Yep.
Who's not a bad looking guy, but he's more of an average Joe type guy.
Right.
And then we get them like, oh man, what happened to Barry's dad's not looking so good. It's looking kind of rough.
Life was hard. Yeah.
I got the other. Oh, it's a different actor. Okay, that's better. But I thought the Flash was great. I thought Supergirl was really good and fun.
Supergirl
in the Flash movie, the new Supergirl.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, because she was a variation. I'm like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
because you established a multiverse, I'll accept whatever you're throwing at me as long as it's not supposed to be our Supergirl.
Yeah, and Keaton getting back in the suit.
Oh man. That was so good.
And those fight scenes with Keaton Batman are some of the most Batman-esque fight scenes ever done in any movie.
Agreed.
But between the combination of his fighting style and the gimmicks and the rope and everything else, he fought the most like Batman of the comics than we've ever seen.
And they used the music scores perfectly. The bum, 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 boom, and he comes down. And you're like, oh, I got the chills through this whole freaking thing. I love this so much. I'm so happy.
And the big kind of CG thing at the end with all the worlds.
Sure.
I love that. That was great.
Me too.
There was a couple of things I would have changed about it if I had my way, but I got what they were doing. I thought, and everyone likes to really, really complain about the CG in that scene, but I thought that was being done intentionally.
Me too. Me too.
Being done, made to look like statues and have a falseness to it.
Yep.
And the thing it reminded me of, and I don't know if it was intentional. It might have been, but one of my favorite ever descriptions of the Flash came from Alan Moore's Swamp Thing run.
Okay.
Well, there's one scene up at a satellite, and he's talking about the members of the Justice League narration, and he describes the Flash as a man who runs so fast his life is an endless gallery of statues. Because he's so fast, everyone's always frozen.
Yeah,
and that's what those CGI scenes look like to me, with all the different worlds coming in, and I love that.
Me too. See, you and I again, you get it.
Yeah,
everybody loves to wait a minute. This didn't look as great as what I'm used to. Shut up.
Yeah.
Use a little imagination and know that they could have done something different, but they chose this.
I would have loved to have seen John Wesley Shipp as a Flash in that moment, or maybe give us a Cesar Romero Joker somewhere in that moment. But I mean, as it is, just the fact that you get like both Adam West and Christopher Reeve and Helen Slater and Nicolas Cage in that moment.
How about that? And what was great was I had to go back and tell everybody why that was significant. People at work were like, yeah, I didn't get, why was he fighting a giant spider? I said, let me send you a little video of Kevin Smith.
Yes.
And I sent them that link and they're like, oh, okay, it all makes sense now. Then they got hooked on Kevin Smith because he's great at storytelling.
Yeah. And I'd say I have to give the Flash the award for the most effective F-bomb in a PG-13 movie ever.
I'm trying to remember.
It's at the very end whenever George Clooney out of the car. Who the F are you?
Yeah. Well, you know how that was supposed to end.
It was supposed to be Keaton, and that would be setting up for Keaton's, right?
Right.
That would have been great.
It's going to be in Batgirl.
Yeah.
And they just kind of went, we're not going to have Keaton be the Nick Fury of this now because that universe is not going to happen. So let's just go with the funny little joke at the end.
And I did not see that coming at all. And that absolutely knocked me out. It was hilarious.
No, I didn't see it coming either. Or the villain. Like, I'm thinking, why aren't they using Zoom? You got to use Zoom if that's his big bad villain. Yeah. Oh, crap. That's the villain.
Yeah. No, that was well done. I mean,
yeah.
The biggest problem I had with that movie was just the main actor, and he was better in this than he was in Justice League.
That was the first thing everybody, when we got out of the theater, they said, "Wow, I actually like that Flash."
Yeah.
Okay, they actually made him likable right away within the first 10 minutes. You're like, okay, good, because comic purists like you and I are going to go, he has to be Barry Allen or Wally West, like.
Yeah.
You can't do whatever he was. Like, it wasn't either character, but again, that's the Snyderverse crap where he didn't care about the characters. So now the more I'm seeing with the Superman legacy, I'm having more and more faith. Do you see who they cast as Jimmy Olsen?
I saw it, but I don't know the actor.
Perfect choice. He played a younger version of Sean from Psych when they do like a flashback, and he's been in movies and stuff since. We see him occasionally, but he's got the red hair, he's got the freckles. Okay,
we're getting Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner.
How about that?
Come on.
I mean,
and you know, and Fillion is such a Green Lantern nerd. You know he's gonna get the bowl cut.
Oh sure.
You know he's gonna make sure he gets the bowl cut.
Well, he was great in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Oh, good.
Finally, right? He was so funny. We were laughing, like Mikey's sitting next to me laughing. He goes, "Oh, you got one of those guys too?" Yeah. No, I'm not talking about you.
Well, they just and the casting for Metamorpho.
Great.
That he looks like Metamorpho just walking down the street. He's got the head brow and the ball. I mean, you don't need much. Don't do CGI on him. Just give him a little pancake makeup, and he's set.
He was great as Victor Zsasz. I was like, yeah, I'd like to see it as Victor Zsasz again.
Was he in Gotham?
Yeah.
Okay, I just know him from that the where he plays the organized crime guy in the Bill Hader TV show.
Okay, I hadn't seen it.
He's great in that. He's really good.
And what about the guy who's going to be Mr. Terrific?
I don't know. Again, I don't know him. So
he was in the first class, X-Men First Class. He's the guy who ends up getting killed, I think.
Oh, was he Darwin?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that guy. Perfect.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I'm so happy because it seems like we're getting out of. These are the first steps of getting out of the pendulum swinging too far with the PC crap where everybody has to be what they're not just to show that we're all equal kind of thing. Remember we were talking, right?
Gunn always walks that line. I mean, and he did it in Suicide Squad. He did it in Peacemaker, where he makes sure that there are like lots of women in there and that there's black characters and Asian characters and not just all white guys. But he doesn't do it in such a way that it feels artificial.
Right.
And he doesn't do it in such a way that it distracts or harms from like legacy characters.
There it is. And we've been dealing with so much of that crap with everything. I'm like, what? I'm all for I want diversity. But I want equality. And if there's so much casting crap that had happened in the last few years where they're going, no, look how PC we are. We took the character that you love and we made them something not. And you're like, well, that's not for the benefit of the character, story, or audience.
Right.
You're doing it because you want to stand on your pedestal and say, look at us.
My kind of rule on that thing is if there's something in the character's backstory or history that requires a certain ethnicity, then that's got to stay there. Right. If it doesn't, and the changes and no harm, no foul,
do it. Who cares?
The best thing about the Ben Affleck Daredevil, was the Kingpin. That Kingpin was great. Now, we had no idea knowing that we'd get the best Kingpin ever with D'Onofrio a few years later. But at the time, I was like, well, that's the Kingpin. And the fact that he's didn't change the character. And Duncan did not play the character any differently because of any sort of like new take on it. That was the Kingpin.
Agreed. I mean, and the fact that like they made Deadshot be Will Smith, I'm like, he's kind of one of those characters that, like you said, he doesn't have to be a white guy.
Oh yeah, most of the time he's wearing a mask. You can't see his face.
So who cares? Like,
yeah, he's just got to be kind of like a Weasley criminal type, and to a certain degree, Will Smith kind of transcends race. Will Smith is Will Smith. He's basically, what if Deadshot was Will Smith? All right, that's what you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Will Smith in Aladdin. What if the genie was Will Smith? That's what you're getting.
Yeah, but the world kind of went, all right, you're not Robin Williams. Like Disney's doing all these live action versions.
The problem with that is, I mean, when you try and hear him sing Fred Like Me, but it's like, ha ha, woo, all right. It's
be good to your mother. Woo!
All right,
nice.
Quick side turn. Of all of those Disney animated remakes, most of them I think are terrible.
Sure.
And not because not out of any like, oh, you can't ever have new actors.
No.
They're just not good product.
Right.
The one that was surprisingly good, I thought, was Dumbo.
Didn't see Dumbo.
Check it out, because Dumbo as a movie is barely like 60 minutes. The original.
Okay. Sure.
So you got to add something to it. So like the first kind of hour of the movie, it's a period piece, which is great. The first hour of the movie basically tells you the story that you get in the animated original. Okay. But then in the second half, Michael Keaton comes in as evil Walt Disney and buys up Dumbo to star in his new evil Walt Disney theme park. It's great.
Yeah,
it's really well done. And you got your it's Tim Burton, so you know you're getting Danny DeVito in there, and he's great. It's surprisingly good. Check that one out.
I will. Well, I saw the first one that they did, and I didn't know that was going to be a trend. I years ago went with my mother and daughter to see Cinderella.
That's the one. That's kind of the only one I missed. Was that any good?
It was very good. Oh yeah, it was great. Because I'm like, oh, okay, we're gonna go see. I know the story, but all right, whatever. It's for my little girl. And I saw him. All right, yeah. I didn't suffer through that. That was good. I enjoyed that. And next thing you know, here comes the next one. Here comes the next one. I'm like, oh, so now it feels like Disney got lazy and went, we're just going to redo live versions of what you already love.
And with very wildly varying results.
And Bambi, they're going to do a live action Bambi.
I mean, I don't understand doing the ones where there's nothing but animals, because you've already done that the first time. You can't, I mean, it's not, you're not hiring a real deer. It's still going to be a CGI animated creature. So I don't get the point. I thought the Jungle Book, I didn't get the point of that one. You know, I didn't think it was like, I agree.
Well, you know what? It gave you more story. So I appreciated that, but I don't know if I ever really need to see it again.
Right. And then Beauty and the Beast, it was okay, but so much of it was like explaining all the jokes from the first movie and just making them longer. And
yeah, no.
Did we need the backstory about Belle's mom dying in the plague? I don't think we did.
Yeah, that's well, Bob. Is it Bob Iger that's the guy in charge of Disney?
No, he's back in now.
He was, because during the strikes, I saw live. I was at work and I'm walking by a TV and they're doing a live interview with them.
that one from the Millionaire Resort.
Yeah, where he's sitting there in the backyard and they're asking him, and they go, "How do you feel about this the writers' strike?" I think they're unreasonable. Like, dude, shut your mouth. And then he's like, I think we need to pull back on Star Wars and we need to pull back on Marvel. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. The things that are successful, you have a real hard time with that, do you?
I mean, considering that he was at the Millionaire Resort camp, he might as well have had like a Mr. Moneybags top hat and monocle and light a cigar with $100 bill. Dude,
Scrooge McDuck is right next to him the whole time.
But at least Scrooge McDuck earned his money. It's like, read the room. You know, you can't be talking about how writers who get paid nothing are being unreasonable.
And within 10 minutes, my phone lit up with that quote.
Yeah,
all over for the rest of the day and the week was Bob Iger is horrible.
Yeah,
he doesn't care about you or what you like.
He was the golden boy.
Yeah,
I mean, he was the guy that smartly bought Marvel and bought Star Wars and bought Pixar, and with all three said, "Go do what you do," and he stayed out of it. Now, in 2 out of 3 of those, it worked. Star Wars was mixed until now. I don't know if you saw the news with this. Dave Filoni is now chief creative at Lucasfilm,
which means
the guy who made Mandalorian and Ahsoka and Clone Wars and was a direct. I mean, I want to say just apprentice, but acolyte is almost more important of Lucas, and was trained by Lucas, is now in charge of the Star Wars output.
Good, because I've been loving all of the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, and it's fine. Now here we'll go back to what we were talking about before. The one thing of the TV Star Wars that I didn't like was Andor. Andor just didn't work for me. I thought it was really dull. I didn't like it. And you know what? I didn't watch it. Cool. Okay. You know what I didn't do? Put out an hour and a half long and anti-Andor rant on YouTube. No. I just didn't watch it. It worked out great.
It was my least favorite of the three because it did play like a spy thriller.
Yeah.
Which are very drawn out and boring, and I don't necessarily care enough, but I watched it with my son who thought it was one of his favorites. And what they were smart enough to do was do 3-episode story arcs. First 3 is that story, next 3 that, next 3 that. So in hindsight, I go, all right, I get it. That was smart because you're right. If you watch the first 3, you're like,
I see. I watched the first 2 and bailed. Having heard this from you, I should probably go back and watch the second 3-parter and see that hits me better. But the quote that got me, it was from one of the producers or showrunners of Andor, and he was talking about how the whole point was for this series was to do a Star Wars without space wizards and robots and laser swords. And I'm like, hey, you know what I really watch Star Wars for is robots and space wizards and laser swords. That's kind of my. Yeah, it's kind of what I like.
That's my sweet spot, which is why I loved Ahsoka. Ahsoka was so freaking good because I'm like, look, we're getting Jedis and we're getting space fights, and this feels like the original trilogy.
That's all Dave Filoni. Ahsoka is like his baby.
Bravo to him. That was
and Mando, which I loved. And I mean, I heard some grumblings about Book of Boba Fett. I loved Book of Boba Fett.
Me too. But again, we got grumblings because people don't appreciate diversity in storytelling.
Yes.
It's not what they expected, so therefore it must be bad.
Right.
Shut up. Just enjoy it.
Like they're complaining about the kids with their fancy swoop bikes. And I was like, did you not see the prequels?
Right.
They were thinking rather prequels than that Art Deco world. And there would be people who would we're back to that kind of styling in their things. It's all part of that universe. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean the whole series is a wash.
And that's the other thing too. For the slower moments for say Andor, the stuff that carried me through was the connective tissue of being in that world. I'd always turn to Mikey and go, do you know how lucky we are to have this? We never even dreamed of this being a show or even being in existence. And we're watching one of many television series in Star Wars.
Although part of me was like, wow, who knew Mon Mothma had a bad marriage? Well, I didn't really need that storyline, but all right, fine.
No.
But also, who thought there'd be a Mon Mothma resurgence to begin with?
Right. And I'm going, ooh, do you know who that is? Do you know, and doing all those little things because they do have a lot of those. If you're paying attention, you go, oh, that's the guy who's going to be up.
Many Dothan spies died to bring us this information.
Right. And you get to see that happen. You get to see who they are. I mean, that's, and with the Marvel stuff, a buddy of mine, he doesn't like anything past Endgame, mostly. And I'm like, well, you know what? And you'll appreciate my philosophical thought on this. Endgame was great, but I feel in hindsight, they blew their wad.
I don't think they realized how much audiences would take that as a finale.
Right. And also
they finale the hell out of that movie.
Right. And which was great for box office, but
it was great. And it was great storytelling too. I mean, at the time I was racked. I loved it. And I still do. But it's still hard to pick up the ball and keep going after that.
Well, because, and this is why, you took the 2 main guys that are the leaders of the Marvel universe, you took them away. And I have loved everything because I understand, which apparently many naysayers don't get, ebbs and flows and ebbs and flows. You can't have, Kirkman said this with Walking Dead, with the comic. You have to have things be quiet for a little while before they ramp up and become holy crap. Because if everything's up here, it doesn't matter. It becomes your new low.
You go right back to the next Thanos level thing in the next movie. You got to let things build.
Exactly. And you got to build characters. You got to give us other guys. You got to give us different angles so that when you do get that big moment, so much matters.
But I think that's funny because I was about to say the same thing. I don't think they realized how much, and it's as much the actors as the characters, how much Downey and Evans carried. They were the pillars of that whole franchise.
Right.
And because both of those were kind of once in a lifetime casting. Definitely for Downey, but I think especially for Evans, where there aren't many people who can make you believe Steve Rogers.
Right. I love John Krasinski, and he was almost Cap, and I don't see him playing it the same way.
No, there would be a bit too much of a smirkiness about it.
Right.
It wouldn't have the sincerity. And if you take both those out, and also, I mean, to an only slightly lesser extent, taking out Scarlett as well. Those three actors. I mean, Scarlett, I think, is in more movies than anybody.
Yeah.
And those and I just read, I don't know if you've seen it. There's that new history book of all the behind the scenes of the MCU.
Okay.
It's quite good. It's very good. And then as a result, when I finished watching, I said, all right, I'm going to do a full rewatch. And so I started Iron Man, and I'm right now I'm on Guardians 2.
Wait, you didn't do Cap? You didn't do Cap first?
No, Iron Man was first movie.
I know, but I mean, as far as like chronologically.
I went release date. I had to go release date. Okay. But as I'm watching these, I mean, Evans especially and Downey are so much carry that. And I mean, Hemsworth is great, and they found a way to actually let Hemsworth put more of himself in the character.
Right.
And that arc he has through Endgame and Ragnarok, I think he's fantastic. Mm-hmm. But you need that heart, and then with those three gone, and then what's interesting in the book, it talks about how when they were making Endgame, Feige goes and talks to Brie Larson and Tom Holland and Chadwick Boseman, and basically says, "Look, everything's changing, but you three are gonna be our pillars from this point on." Not realizing that we'd lose Chadwick far too soon.
Yeah.
Sony would then take away Spider-Man for the next 2 years, so they couldn't build on Spider-Man, and that then the incel crowd would put such a stink on Captain Marvel that it would make it hard for them to build around her.
Right.
So I mean, all of a sudden they had to kind of scramble, and then that happened at the same time that the Disney decided we're spending billions on a streaming service, and we're demanding so much new content from Marvel that they cracked out all. And when you look at that slate of TV shows from Marvel, I mean, I wouldn't say there's one in there that's bad. There are a couple I'm not as crazy about. That's a high quality slate. There's not one you can look at and go, that was a bomb.
Right.
I have quibbles with it. I didn't think What If was particularly.
We'll talk about that. I had thoughts on that with you.
I didn't love that. I thought She-Hulk was great until the finale, and then it completely chunked the landing. But up until the finale, it was fantastic, I thought.
Well, with what you're saying, again, it's hindsight, but we didn't get enough Iron Man and Cap or Black Widow to take them off the board.
Yeah.
We needed a lot more adventures with them. Mm-hmm. Because if you look at it, you got the first Avengers movie. They're established. Second one, they kind of hint that look, they've been doing this a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like
the
when
second
they're all
one,
running
they're
through
really
the forest.
Yeah. And then that's when you add in Wanda and you add in Vision, and it really feels like the Avengers.
Right.
But
so
but you don't. A lot of it's like, we've been chasing this thing for a while. We didn't get to see that stuff. We didn't get to see
we didn't get to see. We needed more adventures.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, in the short term, wow, you did Endgame. Wow, it's great. And whoa, shocking, and things that have never been done before. But now you robbed us of all the adventures that we still yearn for. So now,
and then
people are going.
There's a lot of bigger stories that, like, how do you do those without Evans? And
Mikey brings up a great point. I want to see Daredevil and Captain America together.
Right.
I want to, you know what I mean? Like, I want to see that. And I'm like, I agree. And
I want to see She-Hulk on a team with Tony Stark and Steve Rogers.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you need to merge everybody before you start taking them away. And there's still so many new team ups that not only do we need to see, do we want to see, but we need to see the Fantastic Four. We need to see Human Torch and Spider-Man. And, we need to see Daredevil and Spider-Man. We need that. Give it to us. And, You heard the latest rumor of what they're planning, right?
Well, the talk is often that they're going to bring back a couple of those guys for Secret War.
But they're going to have to recast them.
Oh, well, see, I thought they were going to be leaning into the multiverse thing.
I'm all for it, but yeah, whatever. I'm guessing, of course.
I mean, the scuttlebutt I'm hearing is that they're going to back up the Brinks truck to get Downey and Evans back for Secret Wars,
Sure.
and then that will be a big cosmic shaking thing, and from that point they'll reboot and start recasting, which I think,
Right.
I mean, it's tricky because these movies take so long to make, and now with the strike, everything's going to push back another whole year. How much longer can you have Tony Stark be Downey Jr. before he doesn't?
And
doesn't
agreed.
work?
And I agree. Well, I think they'll get away with it for that movie. For that movie,
yeah, they can do it up until Secret Wars. I mean, but past that, I mean, what you don't want is the Roger Moore Bond of A View to a Kill, where he looks 11 and he's still making out with like 20-year-olds.
Right.
Right. You don't want that kind of rickety Sean Connery Bond from Never Say Never Again, where he's a little bit wobbly when he's doing his fight scenes.
Right.
So that's the danger of holding these guys on for too long in the park.
Well, that's why I'm thinking they're going to bring them in for that movie, and like you said, at the end of that movie, reboot, merge, do the Marvel merge thing where everybody opens their eyes, and you have a new Cap.
Mm-hmm.
Not that the people in the Marvel universe will know the difference, but Cap will be there. Iron Man will be there, but they'll be different actors.
Yeah.
Great. I don't care if you get unknowns. If they're perfect for the casting,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't go for a name. Go for who can do this character.
Yeah. All right. And let's put a big fat spoiler warning on all this just in case anybody.
Oh, no, this is just us guessing. Like we have no
but for what I'm about to say, because this is something that came up in the Marvels that was a huge surprise.
Okay.
So
I know where you're going. Yeah. Anybody who's listening, we're going to talk about the end of the Marvels.
If you haven't seen the Marvels, first off, go see it. It's great. It's super.
It is excellent. It's excellent.
But secondly, this is what we're talking about. All this talk about incorporating the X-Men into the MCU, I always thought it would be complete recasting. And the last thing I ever thought would then be leaning into what was the admittedly very uneven Fox X-Men universe. For every great X-Men movie, you had two bad ones.
Yeah.
And for every great bit of casting, you had 2 or 3 bad ones.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the same guy. So I never expected the way in for the X-Men to be the X-Men we know. But then you see the Kelsey Grammer beast come in, who, by the way, is the best casting in the worst movie of any superhero movie.
Mikey read that exact line from whoever the producer, director, whoever says, we're bringing in the guy who was cast in the best role, the perfect guy who unfortunately was in the worst movie for that character. And
and by the way, I couldn't help but notice it was a very CG beast, which I think is fine. He looked bad because I mean the makeup on Grammer has always looked good the 2 times we saw him, but this was really smooth. But I did not think that the way in was going to be leaning into all this Fox stuff, which now I have to wonder what kind of crazy stuff are we going to see in Deadpool 3?
I know. Now I hate Deadpool, but I like those movies. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's excellent.
I did not care one whit about Deadpool until Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
In the comics,
that's perfect.
Yeah.
Right. Because I hate the, aren't I cute? Look, I'm talking to the wall. I'm breaking the fourth wall. I hate that garbage. It's not my type of humor.
And the character itself, really by itself, before they started going, there's no depth to him. He just, it's whatever. But Reynolds makes that character work. And he even found a way to do it hard. But there's also this kind of like absolutely fearless, we're going to do whatever and make fun of everything in a way that works so well in those movies. And no, it's confirmed that they're getting back Elektra.
Okay.
With the actress, the one from the Jennifer Garner. Jennifer Garner is coming back as Elektra.
Yeah. Because it's a multiverse
They're
thing.
doing that. You know Affleck showing up as Daredevil.
He better.
He's dead. And apparently there's a lot more X-Men cameos coming in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't see how it's possible, how it's not possible that, well, let's get Cage in here as the Ghost Rider.
Sure. What's he gonna say? No.
Yeah, and or having Chris Evans come in there to play Human Torch.
Right. I mean, that's
and
fun.
All this stuff. I mean, I think right now they're the Deadpool movie especially is so fearless in what they can do because they've proven it all works. And now with what we see, what they're doing with the Beast, Marvel is willing to say all this stuff happened, so let's bring it all in, which I never expected.
I mean, you. Yeah, I said this to Mikey too, and you get it. We lived from the moment we're born and we're introduced into comics. Our imagination went, wait, why can't you have G.I. Joe and the Transformers coexist? I know, they're not the same toy line, but I can have these characters intermingle. Why can't we have Batman and Spider-Man team up? And, and then in my mind, I always want them to be part of the same universe. But we also understand that you can have fun, as the comics have taught us, with a multiverse of 3 different Spider-Men. And, here comes 5 Ghost Riders and 2 Punishers. Like, just have fun. And up until 20 years ago, they didn't want to have, not even less, they didn't want to have 2 Batman. Or if you have Batman in a movie, you can't have him on a TV show because it'll confuse the audience. Now we're of the generation, our people in charge going, people aren't stupid. They will appreciate a multiverse, and now we're getting it in everything. DC, Marvel.
If they're going to go this crazy and this big with Secret Wars, and they're going to spend the money to bring back Evans as Cap and Downey, how are you not going to have that and then put in Hugh Jackman's Wolverine?
Right.
And then and then also put in Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, gimme. And there's going to be people already, we're not even close to it being out, and people are already going to, it sucks, it's stupid, it's, that garbage mentality. Shut up. You were so blessed. We are so blessed. Even if it wasn't as, somehow, I don't think we're going to have any issues, but even if something isn't as perfect as you want it to be, it's still there. It's still made. It's still, you can always grow on that and just love everything.
I mean, and what's gratifying about this is when these things happen, it can kind of make you change the way you felt about older stuff.
Yeah.
I love Andrew Garfield's Spidey now.
Oh, me too. I always did.
But I never, it didn't work for me before. I didn't like him in the first movie, and I never saw the second one.
But then second one's great. Second one's great. The outfit.
All right, I got to go get the second one now. And that Andrew Garfield, and I felt the same with the Marvels. I got maybe 3 episodes into Ms. Marvel on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I get what this is. It's definitely good. Not for me. It felt, it skewed very teen to me. And I was like, okay, I see why. I see what they're doing. I think they're doing it well. It's not working for me. So I didn't watch the rest of it.
Oh.
But then when I saw her in the Marvels, and she carries that movie, she's fantastic.
She is fantastic.
But I think what you really needed with her is you need her with established heroes to really make that dynamic sing. She's great. So now I'm going to go back and watch the rest of Ms. Marvel.
Okay, because I was just about to tell you something at the end, but I won't. Go back and watch it.
Yeah.
Because, you got to be patient, especially the fact that they only give us 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Drives me nuts. But because once it gets going, you got to give it a couple episodes to establish itself and whatever. But then all of a sudden you'll feel it kick in and you go, okay, now we're going. Now everything makes sense. Now, and then it's over and you're like, oh, I miss it and I wish it didn't. It's same thing with WandaVision.
Yeah.
If you only watch the first 3 episodes, you're out.
Yeah, that one in particular was such a specifically weird concept.
Yeah.
That I think if you had to know, okay, I clearly got to be in a long haul for this one.
And that's the thing, because with the impatient, society we live in of instant gratification, a lot of people dropped out. I'm like, no, watch the whole thing because Marvel always pays off. There's always not only does it pay off, it gives you extra. You get a bonus thing to go for the next thing.
Yeah.
And by the time they got to that fourth one, I went, oh.
Sweet, okay. The other Ms. Marvel thing I thought was great is her family in the Marvels is played so well. They use those characters perfectly. They feel real. They don't feel like stereotypes. And they also contribute to the overall plot. Basically, and again, not to go negative, but this did bother me. Everything they did right in the Marvels, DC kind of did wrong in Blue Beetle with Jaime's family.
Okay.
Jaime's family just felt like, and it's weird, super stereotypical, and just completely unrealistic, and way too much of them. I mean, that we should be called Blue Beetle's family because they had more action scenes than he did. And just, I mean, George Lopez saying "Holy free holies," really?
Yeah, that was a little bit tough. Yeah,
they can't show Speedy Gonzalez cartoons anymore, but we got this. I mean, I don't know.
He was a bit much.
And I think the main kid as Blue Beetle, he's great.
Great. He is great.
Again, this is all it goes back to finding the stuff you love. I love how much of it was about Ted Kord's legacy.
Yes.
Clearly leading into bringing that back. And the fact that we got so much of them in the Bug. Although, when I saw them spray painting the Bug, I got angry.
Me too. Me too. I'm like, you better have blue paint to paint over that because you don't do that garbage.
Speaking of Blue Beetle, did you see the Bug in theaters?
Did I see the movie?
No, the actual Bug itself. Certain theaters had a Blue Beetle popcorn bucket.
Oh, I did not. No. Oh, holy crap. Oh, I would have gotten that. You know what? Yeah. What theater was it?
I think it wasn't the AM. I think it was a Landmark chain. This thing was perfectly sized for the Mattel 3 3/4 figures, and there is currently a Beetle figure inside.
I would hope so.
The hat show was up in the back. It's great, and I got my theaters did not either. I got mine on eBay pretty cheap. So
see,
look for that.
Well, we didn't have that sort of luxury here because when Indiana Jones came out, they had the hat bucket for the popcorn and the soda with the cup with the hat on it. Well, I wanted that. So I was told, oh yeah, it's at AMC theaters or whatever the heck it is. So I'm running, even though I saw the movie and it wasn't at the one that I saw, I'm like, I'm going to run and check it out. And someone I know worked at it and they said, yeah, we don't have that here. It's a chain that I guess we don't have on this coast, or at least nowhere near me. I'm like, but it's Indiana Jones. Give me. Like that's, there's certain things that are near and dear that are part of my DNA, and I never got to get it.
The scuttlebutt I heard for Blue Beetle was that the plan was for a second one to bring in Ted Kord.
Sure.
And it would be Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah. He did the voice.
Was that the voice? It sure sounded like him.
Yeah, that was him.
Which I think great casting. That would
agreed. Absolutely. So we'll see. Hopefully that's what's going to happen. I
mean, and Gunn has pretty much kind of like given this the approval, and that this is going to be our Blue Beetle from now on, even if this movie isn't part of the cut. So I'm fine with that.
He said, "Yeah, Blue Beetle is our first DCU hero, our superhero."
Yeah.
Great. Fine.
Yeah.
And you know what amazed me too about that movie? Because again, they didn't really promote it like they should have. They didn't market anything. They didn't really try. So I thought, oh God, this is going to be low budget. Special effects are not going to be great. The suit's going to look like crap. Everything was amazing.
I think
it was phenomenal.
I think that's why they gave it the theatrical bump, is that the suit work and the effects all came out so good. They thought, okay, this is something we can put in theaters and get out there. And that was the high point of the movie. That and the Kord stuff, but just the family stuff. Grandma with the revolutionary with the gun, and just,
Well, I was dying to talk to you about. What stayed with me from one of our previous conversations was your critique of What If, because What If is coming out now with season 2 finally, thank God. But and again, hindsight and rewatching them, and Mikey pointed out, which on his own, which I think you said too, and I agree. As much as we love it and it's great, no. What if is very simple. It's at this critical moment, did you turn left or did you turn right? And you get to watch what happens because you turned right.
Right.
Instead of left. So that's great. This show does not do that. For example, they assume you're going to do the backstory in your head. The one where Killmonger saves Iron Man.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
I happened to watch that one last week, and I thought of you, and I'm like, I wish you were sitting next to me because we would have this conversation right then and there. It starts with Killmonger, for whatever reason, being where Tony Stark is.
There's no point of divergency where that can happen. And
That's
so
what I'm saying.
Yes.
You need the moment where Killmonger went, I'm turning left instead of right, and then building up to where he's with Stark. They just go, wait a minute, why were you in Afghanistan at that moment? Yeah. Because in the original history, he wasn't. They also had Black Panther not being the father. Father's still alive, but he's not Black Panther. It's T'Challa.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen until Civil War when the father dies. So you already are making it not our thing.
No, you can't just take your concepts and throw them into a barrel and then pull them out and say Yahtzee, and that's your story. It's got to come from a certain point that's left or right.
Yeah.
You know, the comics fell prey to that too. I think I said it before. I mean, for every story that was good, if you know, what if Spidey joined the Fantastic Four? There's a point to that. Then you know, issue 3 was what if Nick Fury fought World War II in space? Well, no,
you can't do. Where did you pull that from?
It's not what if. That's what the F. It's a very different series.
Exactly. So I'm watching these, and I'm watching the trailer for the new ones, and I'm thankful, and I love it, but it doesn't seem like they necessarily learned their lesson.
No, they didn't.
It feels like the watcher goes, "I'm not done with that story," and you're like, "No, the comment, the last episode is them all coming together to fight whatever. That fine, you did that. Let it go. Yeah. Give us the what ifs." I mean, again, I'm sure it's an episode by episode.
Well, I also saw that one of the episodes is about this new American Indian character, Native American character, and it's like, okay, no, I mean, that's not what the show is for, or not what the concept is for.
Yeah, we don't know who she is, or do we care, because we have too much to go back to.
Yeah.
You don't need to create new. Just deal with what you have.
Yeah, so that series is for me the biggest weak link in the entire Marvel Plus slate, which overall is still pretty great. And they know now that we're almost in December, I will start my now annual rewatch of Hawkeye,
which I did. I started it last Christmas because I'm like, the first episode in particular, and throughout it, but in particular that first episode really gets me going for Christmas because he's in New York.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
you're looking around and all the Christmas crap.
I now have 2 Marvel traditions every year, which will be the Hawkeye series and my God, the Guardians Christmas special.
Oh, wasn't that amazing?
I watched that so many times last year, and every time it just cracked me. It's so good, and just
cry.
Yeah, it's so affecting and emotional, but also just as crazy and hilarious and goofy as Guardians can be. But it all does so well.
Well, you know,
those songs are fantastic.
Catchy as I put them on my playlist. They're on my Christmas playlist. And that last movie, that last Guardians of the Galaxy movie, Gunn did a brilliant job wrapping everything up. I mean, he tied off things that I didn't even remember that I needed to care about. Like he gave closure to every single character and everything that he started. And it didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like, oh, we got 10 more minutes to wrap this. Like, no, just do it.
And looking back now, you realize this is intentional. The 2 characters who kind of got a bit of short shrift in Volume 3 were Drax and Mantis.
Uh-huh.
So they get a giant spotlight in the Christmas special.
Right.
So, I mean, it all evened out. So you don't feel like you were robbed of those two because you did get to know them really well in the Christmas special. It's funny, Volume 3, I have not gone back to rewatch since the theater. Only because I just haven't had a chance yet. I'm dying to.
Right.
It's volume and just the way the Rocket story is told. And so rough. It's
so rough.
But it's insanely affecting.
And you know what? You had to tell that story.
Yeah.
Because you know, everybody wondered what's the deal with the talking raccoon? Oh, I was experimented on. Okay, well, what does that mean? And that's what that means.
And you get that beat where, like, you know, when they're all running to escape, and Rocket's like, "We got to get everybody out," and he's talking about the animals. And I was like, oh, that's so good. And then when he sees that he is a raccoon, and he embraces it. I'm Rocket Raccoon. It's so much good stuff. I miss this. Apparently, whenever they're all running off the ship and to get back to nowhere, Drax is carrying the High Evolutionary.
Oh yeah,
they don't leave. No, we're the Guardians. We don't leave you to die.
That's nice.
That's so good. And, you know, and it's the little nuances like that make it work so well.
And you know, I thought for sure, what's his face was dead. Star-Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, he blew like, oh, you're done. That's it. You're dead. You jumped, and once the air hits you and you're freezing and your body does that, good luck getting back to normal.
Yeah.
Like,
no, but I mean, to be fair, Gunn's done that a lot. I mean, he gets pretty puffy in the first one too.
Did he?
When he sees Aura. So it didn't feel to me like he went too much with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I can excuse it because it's sci-fi and all. Okay, we got back to nowhere, and there's a machine that you could lay in, and it'll fix it.
And also, Quill's half alien, so there's something to that.
Okay, there you go. See, I'll excuse it.
Yeah.
Whereas other things, if somebody else,
like the end of Total Recall, where Arnold's eyes are like this far out of his head.
Right. Right. There's certain things where you go, bull crap.
Yeah.
But I thought
it was great that he didn't go for the easy, happy ending with Quill and Gamora.
How about that? I love that he's like, she's not the same person now. I got to let her go.
Yeah.
Bravo, because it's so easy and predictable to go, no, we need to find a way for them to get together in the end.
And that it gives Quill an arc where he's actually maturing.
Yes.
Where he was so immature in Infinity War that he almost gives away the game in the fight with Thanos.
Well, ever since then, he's been the most hated Marvel character. Because every time I look at him, like, you a-hole. You, because you're a petty child, you cost 5 years of people's lives.
Yeah.
Like, God. But, you know, in this one, he's redeemed some. And then in the end, he's having cereal with his father.
Oh, that's that last scene. The use of the Florence and the Machine song was just perfect.
Yep.
The cut between that dance party and Quill back on Earth. So well done. Oh.
But you know what confused me? Quill will return. Why? I mean, great, I guess, if you're going to find a use for him, but it ends with them saying you'll see him again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't need to see
that. I think they know they're going to want to use him in Secret Wars.
Okay.
You know, and and also I think Gunn has done that with all of his Guardians movies. I think it's a kind of like a James Bond thing he loves doing.
Sure.
In all the old Bond movies, it's always James Bond will return in, and a lot of times they'd have the title even. And I that appears to be like a Gunnism.
I'm getting, like I said, more and more faith of Superman Legacy because I don't want anything to be as raunchy as Suicide Squad, especially that second one. And it was also so childlike. And I thought, oh God, don't do this with Superman. Don't make it vulgar. Don't make it, you know. But then you see Guardians, you go, okay, do that. Use that type of mentality for Superman and understand.
And Suicide Squad is a different kind of concept, you know. So
right.
I mean, so it can lean more toward the violent side, but still, You got Starro in that Suicide Squad movie,
right? Right. I know, but then then they'd have the stupid moments of "I'm a hero," splush, like people dying randomly. I'm like, okay, that's a sixth grader joke that you could do once.
That's also very Suicide Squad. I remember reading those. You would read those comics from John Ostrander, and I mean, every time someone new joined the team, it was you knew they weren't lasting long.
Right, right, which is fine, and I expect people to die. But as it was kind of the vulgarness of it always throws me. And I enjoyed Peacemaker.
I love Peacemaker.
Right? Peacemaker was great despite its vulgarness. Like there's moments where I'm just like that. Okay, you don't have to go grade school level humor. You could bump it up a bit, but the quality of the story arc was great.
Yeah,
like very unpredictable.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, that I didn't feel like I wasted my time when it was over. I'm like, oh, that was good. Okay.
Cena was surprisingly good in that, I thought.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. No, those and I loved Suicide Squad, the second one. I didn't hate the first one like everyone else.
I love the first one. The first one I was like, yeah, fine, great.
Yeah. I mean, quibbles here and there, but overall, I thought it worked pretty well.
Speaking of quibbles, so we're going down the Marvel list of TV shows I wanted to share with you because I told you about What If. There were 3 things, if I'm going to nitpick. Again, thankful for it all. That's the point of the title. Shut your mouth and be thankful we have it. But what you said about She-Hulk. And here's why it doesn't work. And you'll get this.
The rest of the series was so good.
The whole series was great. I got my Daredevil. We got a fun Daredevil.
Yeah.
He stole the show, quite frankly. I mean, he's so amazing. I love it. And again, Daredevil's my #1 Marvel guy, but take that out of it, he was still the one who stole the show.
Yeah.
He's sweet to her, and they didn't do the cliche, oh, we're going to have a romantic thing, but in the end, we're going to bicker and decide, no, it's not going to work, and I'm going to go away. No, he cares for her.
Yeah.
They really brought out the whole nurturing aspect of Matt Murdock, where he's not a scumbag. He really wants to be nice to people. And he's like, even at the end in the last scene where they're having the picnic and he's with the family, and he reaches over and grabs the father's shoulder.
Yeah. Like
little nuances like that. I'm like, see, I love the sweetness of Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
He's looking out for her. She's trying to be funny, and he's like, you're outclassed here. Just shh, let me handle this. And in the courtroom, he kicks the crap out of her. And, all of that. And also you feel that they like each other and the relationship will continue. Like, great.
Yeah.
Let that. But the last episode, they do, and I know why they did it, but they shouldn't have.
No, they were trying to do the John Byrne fourth wall.
Trying to do the John Byrne, break the fourth wall. Look at how cute we are. And I wish they understood what you would understand, and I understand, is that works and is tolerated in a comic. Because with the comic, it's not cemented. The next issue can ignore what just happened. You know what I mean? Like, you give a little more leeway with comic writing because it's issue to issue and it doesn't ripple.
Well, the other difference too is look at the way the same thing is handled in Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool movies. In Deadpool, whenever Deadpool talks to the camera, it's done with the lightest touch. But you'll see the Hugh Jackman photo coming up here and there, or he'll talk about making Green Lantern at the end. So sure. the fourth wall things are just a little light touch, and then that shield, it's done with a hammer.
It's done with a hammer, and
no nuance.
They assume that the audience is going to go, oh, John Byrne's kind of thing. But you ruined the whole story because guess what? You built up the whole series or season to be a big fight, which I don't care how many times it's been done. We need to see her fight people. We need to see resolution with these arcs instead of her going, wait, I'm going to walk into the studio and talk to somebody. Okay, but we never get to see that resolution. The TV audience is not as patient as, say, a comic book reader who can go, all right, and then let it go. If it's on film, that's
Yeah,
that.
and
that
the other problem with that from a narrative standpoint is when you make that the climax, that means ostensibly your entire season doesn't count.
Exactly. And you just kick the audience in the crowd.
Your character is going to be so difficult now because in my mind, the whole thing didn't really happen because it was all a joke.
Right. Exactly. And it does not fly for
and the way they wasted and the way they used Ruffalo, it was so good at the beginning and at the end with his weird son showing up. It's like, so you just wasted all this time and narrative for Hulk and it wasn't even a joke, it was just weird.
And we never get to see that story.
And the son looked so strange, and it wasn't even. It was that that was a mystery to me.
A couple weekends ago, I met Mark Lynn Baker. We went to Chiller, and the kids know him from She-Hulk.
Yeah,
and we call him Cousin Larry, but we decided to use our 5 minutes to talk about Marvel with them. And he was sitting there, and he's very kind. And he was sweet to us, very quiet, not the guy who's going to necessarily carry the conversation. But we talked about She-Hulk. And I said, do you think they're going to do more? He goes, I haven't been called. I don't know if they're going to do another season. I said, well, that could change tomorrow. He's like, that's all true. We don't know what Marvel will call me, and I'll be there. But I said,
go ahead.
I was going to say, what we said, Cindy goes, how great is it to be part of the Marvel universe? And he lit up. He's like, I know. I know. I'm in there. I get to be She-Hulk's dad. We got a picture with them. But yeah, very sweet and very, very quiet. But,
it was just so frustrating because she was so good in that part.
Yeah.
As both, as Jen Walters and as She-Hulk, and the CGI was well done enough that I always believed her in the She-Hulk scenes, and it just felt like that last episode threw it all away.
Well, agreed, and hopefully they learn from that and realize, the audience won't just tolerate anything, and we can't be cute and not give you closure. You need to have the fight. You need to have resolution. But that last scene with Matt Murdock sitting with them, I'm like, yeah.
In my mind, I kind of end the season on that episode.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. And then it was the same thing with Moon Knight. We loved Moon Knight. However, and let me ask you, because I'm going to sound foolish, they gave him different powers, right? Like Moon Knight is a guy who takes a shirt off and puts his uniform on and jumps from rooftop to rooftop, and they allude to him being, you're the Moon Knight, but he doesn't fly, and his outfit doesn't go boom and appear on him when he wants. Correct?
Well, kinda. I mean,
comic when I now and again, but I'm not an expert on it.
They would use his cape as like a crescent glider in a way that would never work in real life. So
sure.
And he really leaned into that a lot. And there was also the period where, because for a lot of the first part of Moon Knight, he was just nuts. He was just crazy.
Story arc?
Yeah, where we had multiple personalities. Mm-hmm. And so the kind of the idea was he was a damaged guy, and he wasn't really like the chosen one. Later on, Khonshu was a real deity who was giving him some supernatural powers, and all of a sudden at night, I think he gets stronger with the light of the moon. And he has some super strength. So it's not out of the ordinary from canon, at least, to give him more power than usual. And MCU always kind of does that to a certain degree. I mean, in my mind, Captain America does not have super strength.
Right.
When I was growing up, I remember Marvel Universe, Cap has the maximum strength and stamina of a normal human being.
Right. He got to shoot without doing the work.
Yeah, and in the movies, I mean, Cap's holding back helicopters. Right. And it works in a movie. I'm not upset that movie Cap is super strong, but I think they're always going to kind of lean into that with these characters and add some oomph to them where they can.
Yeah, well, it took me out of it though, because I love all of what you said. Okay, he can get a little stronger, but I don't see him. being riddled with bullets and just keep moving. The moment that they have the suit appears on him and all the wraps around him, and then he's walking through the desert and all these guys are just point blank shooting him. I'm like, well, that's not the Moon Knight that I know. The Moon Knight I know is closer to a Batman.
He's very much Batman.
Right? Which is great. And you could do a certain spin on that with the multiple personalities, which I thought was brilliant. I love the idea of him blacking out and then waking up again, and now he's got a bloody hand and he's holding like, you know, somebody's heart or whatever. That's great. I'm all for that. I thought those episodes were great, but the moment you make him supernatural to that degree, it took me out of it because I'm like, okay, so what am I afraid of for him? If he's going to get get shot a trillion times and keep walking like it doesn't phase him.
You know, it's definitely got a more supernatural lean. It also leans more into the, I think it was Warren Ellis run, which introduced the Mr. Knight persona in the suit.
Yeah. That was great, actually.
So, again, it all, and also Khonshu being so much more of an active part of the storyline.
Sure.
And that F. Marie Abraham Khonshu voice is so good.
I agree.
So I felt like in the first one, I realized, okay, they're doing something different with it. And so I was never most of my Moon Knight exposure, honestly, was during his brief run in the West Coast Avengers.
Okay.
So I didn't have a big fondness for the character going in. So I was able to make that jump pretty easily. They're doing something new. Let's go with it.
For me,
you're right. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I wanted to check with you because I have read Moon Knight now and again. And since then I bought like the volumes on digital. I have almost all of them and I have to read them. But when I would read them, he has the gadgets where if he's going to use the cloak, it's not because it's a normal cape. It's because when he does that, it'll do this. In the handbook of the Marvel, it describes how the cape is weighted at the bottom. Yeah, all of that. And I'll go with that. And you have your moon copter. He had
the Crescent copter, if I recall.
I'll go with all of that. That's fine. Great.
Yeah.
Be an offshoot of a Batman type character without the brooding part of it. Fine. And then Bendis, was it Bendis? No. Before Bendis, when they did that dark thing where he was crazy and they kind of made him where he cut off the face of right. I'm like, oh, now I can't root for you because you're just a crazy wacko. I like him to be a good person who can tap into different personalities if he needs to, like it's a utility belt,
right
and that's fine. I'll do that. But the moment that they make him crazy, I'm like, well, now I don't see you standing next to Daredevil.
Yeah.
And for me, Moon Knight is more the urban street fighter like Daredevil, where he could be part of the new Defenders with Daredevil and Luke Cage and whoever, because they're on that same level of. But the moment you make him, supernatural, I'm like, all right, you're out. I can't. But despite that, I enjoyed it immensely until the last episode. The last episode was fine, but it felt rushed, and then it ended. There was stuff on it that didn't make sense as we're watching it. Like, wait a minute. Your other identity fell off the boat. How did you get him back on the boat? Like, they just all of a sudden have them appear together.
No, and
you go, all right, so I'll let that go. Fine. I don't need to nitpick. I can let it go. And they wrap everything up in such a way that you're like, how did he heal if he didn't have the powers and he got shot in the chest? All of a sudden now he's up and fine again. Okay.
Far more supernatural, far more mystical.
And which is fine if you're going to explain it. But if you don't explain it, how do you expect me to make the jump? Like, I can't just blindly go, okay. And in that last episode, they did it like 3 times with stuff. And they had the girl. Okay, the girl now has powers too.
Yeah, that felt surprisingly out of left field.
Right. And then in the end,
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there's a big history of that in the comics.
There's not.
Not really part of the mythos.
And the comics are now trying to backpedal into that. They're like, no, look, she's going to show up. Who cares now? And then in the end, okay, there's Lockney or whatever that third personality is. Okay, that's great, except you left on a cliffhanger, and we don't know if we're going to get more.
I thought a while back, Oscar Isaac like tweeted from like somewhere in the Middle East where they were filming. So I think that one they haven't announced yet, but is.
Oh, I hope so. I pray from your mouth to God's ears. I hope so, because there's so much potential and everybody enjoyed it. So
yeah,
if that cliffhanger pays off,
yeah,
it'll be forgiven. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the third thing I wanted to tell you, what is that? Is that your side?
Yeah, it's a Siren by my house.
Oh, it came through the speakers like someone screaming. I'm like, well, somebody's not enjoying the show. The other one that I will admit fell short was Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
Secret Invasion, I feel like they did the Beatles mistake. I feel like they went, the Beatles went, we're just going to crap out anything and you're going to love it. And I understand they had to do a story arc to build up towards what Secret War is going to be. I got that. But one, Nick Fury didn't feel like Nick Fury. Two, I don't care about all those green guys.
Yeah.
It was too espionage-y. Who do you trust? Who do you like? Who should I root for? Where everybody's backstabbing everybody else.
Well, there's a couple reasons it didn't work for me. For one, the MCU has kind of made the Skrulls sympathetic. So having the Skrulls be like bad guys here didn't feel like what we'd come to know these guys as, for one thing. And you're right, Nick Fury did not feel particularly like the star of the show or like he was really as competent as he should be. Yeah. I think what's most telling about it is that you can go from the last time you see Nick Fury at the end of the second Spidey movie, where they reveal he's in space,
sure,
to the beginning of the Marvels, and it's like Secret Invasion never happened. That series lifts right out.
Yep.
Nothing of it.
Well, and the fact that they undercut his significance as a spy, where they're like, no, the Skrulls did everything. That's how you knew stuff. That's how you figured that out. Because by the way, there's 1 million Skrulls on our planet now. Well, GD it. Like, great. So it's not a who do you trust kind of thing. It's a, random green guys that I can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
I need to root for these green guys, but not these green guys. I don't care enough. And so I'm watching it. I'm like, all right, do we trust the girl? Is she supposed to? Oh, her father got killed. Okay. I didn't care enough about him to care that he died just because he was in a previous movie. He was in the Captain Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't care about you then. And now, green guy's going after this green guy. And there's going to be one fight in the end where they do the female version of Super Skrull.
Yeah.
Who cares?
It's the only, other than What If, it's the only Marvel Plus series that feels completely inconsequential.
Yeah.
That you can take it right out, and it's not going to have any impact on what happens in the future. And it didn't pay off anything we'd want to see in the past. It didn't serve its main character well. The top to bottom, a gigantic missed opportunity.
Oh, and Maria Hill dies.
And also, did they establish exactly when Rhodey got taken?
No. Okay. Actually, they said, I think they said after he lost the use of his legs. It was somewhere in there.
If it's not post Endgame, I'm going to be very upset because Rhodey's stuff in Endgame is great.
Right.
Rhodey has great moments in that movie. I would argue probably more character development in Endgame and than he had in most of the movie before that. That because I don't believe that there's that great moment when he's with Nebula when they're getting the soul gem on Morag.
Sure.
And her hand got shredded, and he looks over at it. He's like, "Man, we work with what we got, right?" I'm talking about his own disability. I don't buy a Skrull saying that.
Well, that's the thing too. Yeah, you're right. because when they get him out of the pod, they have to carry him. Remember at the end of Secret Invasion?
Yeah.
So
it's definitely post injury, but as long, I mean, there's still time because the years they've done. As long as it's post Endgame, then that's fine.
Right.
But if say like the roadie we saw in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, if he's been scrolled by that point, cool.
Right.
But
right.
don't take him away from Endgame.
Right. And I was wondering if they were going to have, and this is just again guessing, the way that they could reverse the whole Iron Man. I'm sure they won't, but the Iron Man Captain America thing. What if they were Skrulls?
Oh God, that would be the worst possible.
Right. I think people would be ticked.
Yeah, that means there's a Skrull somewhere, macking on Haley Atwell, and that's not cool.
Right. Right.
Back in the 50s.
But yeah, I mean, back with the Beast thing, you're right. As long as they use Kelsey Grammer's voice, they could CGI anything.
Yeah.
I meant to throw that in before, because when we're watching the theater and we're watching Frasier, and I had Mikey, we all sat as a family and watched 11 seasons of Cheers while we would eat dinner. And so we zipped through those. Mikey's got the Funkos and All About Sam, and he starts watching the original Frasier. Well,
I think I'm in the minority, by the way. Now I like Cheers Frasier better than Frasier. But go on.
Yeah, I agree. But we're watching the new Frasier and enjoying it. Well, Mikey's like all obsessed about it, and then we see, holy crap, Kelsey Grammer is Beast again, and he's even saying, "Yeah, I think there's going to be more of me as Beast." And we see it in the theater, and while the credits are rolling, Cindy leans over and goes, "It's a Kelsey Grammer world, and we're just living in it."
Pretty much, right? that was one of my favorite things in Days of Future Past. I always thought they should have taken that X-Men team they showed at the end of that movie and given us more movies with that team.
Without a doubt.
When Grammer walks by and he's got the suit on, he looks like Hank McCoy in the comics. Yep. Who, by the way, in the comics, Hank McCoy is a train wreck now.
Is he?
He's such a villain. I don't know how they redeem him.
Really?
It's terrible.
What'd they do?
He's like a evil scientist, mass murdering monster over in the X-Men comics. I think have been terrible the last couple of years, and now they're actively trying to somehow redeem the character because clearly they see where things are going in the MCU. Yeah,
well, the X-Men, I'll tell you, overall for me, other than the Claremont, obviously, and John Byrne, and Joss Whedon's run I loved it. I have it digitally. I said to my son, when you're in the mood for X-Men, I want you to read that arc, because that is it at its essence. That is, overall for me, as much as I'd love to enjoy the X-Men, you got to wait until a writer has come and gone and then judge it, because most of it, I think, is not good and typically hasn't been good because, and I know we've talked about this, every writer wants to make the next Nightcrawler and Wolverine. Everybody wants to do their breakout thing, so they're too busy creating new characters instead of just keeping it tight and use who you have. Yeah. If a story needs new guy to walk in, let it be organic. But everybody goes in, no. Yeah, I got the next Wolverine, so it ruins everything.
Yeah, they don't see what the heart of the characters are. So, I'm here for Scott and Jean. I'm here for Professor X. I'm here for Wolverine. I'm not here for Maggot. I can do without Maggot. Leave Maggot alone. And instead, you get like 5 issues of Maggot suddenly being the heart of the team.
Maggot and Marrow.
Yeah,
that whole thing is like, see, I'm like done. I can't even. Other than Daredevil, my overall feeling towards Marvel Comics is I'm not buying them until something is collected and people rave about it. Like if somebody says, "Oh no, that was a great run," I'll wait for it to go on sale and I'll grab it digitally.
Here's a recommendation: the new She-Hulk series.
Yeah,
great.
Who is it?
The writer is, I think her name is Rainbow Rowell?
Okay.
And,
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, and the artist, right here, it's Artist is, for a while it's been Miyazawa. Somebody else came in, but Rainbow Rowell is the writer on it, and it's very much in the style of the Byrne stuff, and it's focusing on her being super smart and being a lawyer and having a personal life along with being a superhero, and a long-term romance with Jack of Hearts.
Okay,
it's great because I love Jack of Hearts. Underrated characters, and they
I wondered who did.
Yeah, and they give great stuff to do. There's I think 2 trades out now, so definitely recommend it.
All right, good to know, because I'm always looking for something good. But I'll try stuff if the sale is low enough. Like Marvel will not drop their prices like DC will.
Yeah,
DC will give you a chance. Marvel goes, yeah, we're still going to nail you for at least $5 to $10 for this, even though it's on sale. Like, guys, come on, help a guy out, will you?
So while we're deep diving into the MCU, as I've been doing this big rewatch, the thing that's been impressing me most is, and the first few movies I've seen multiple times by now, but I'm still finding new stuff that I've missed.
Yep.
In the first Iron Man, I never noticed this. Whenever Tony's in Vegas playing craps when they're trying to give him the award at the very beginning, there's like lounge Vegas-y music playing. It's a lounge version of the Iron Man cartoon theme from the 60s.
Wow. That. I love that crap.
And then later on, whenever he calls Rhodes on his cell phone, on Rhodes' phone, his ringtone is the 60s Iron Man theme song. Never noticed that. In the first Guardians, whenever they first arrest all 4 of them, and the 2 cops are like kind of like explaining who everybody is, and all the data appears on screen.
Yeah.
Rocket's name is listed as the ID number that the High Evolutionary gave him in Volume 3.
See, that's smart. I love that crap. Like
the most recent one, and this one just really rocked me. I was just watching Civil War again, and there's that moment when Baron Zemo shows Stark the video of the Winter Soldier killing his parents.
Yeah.
But they zoom in close, and there's no sound in the video, so you have to read his lips. But whenever the car crashes, Bucky goes over there and pulls Howard Stark out to kill him. Howard looks up at him and recognizes him and goes, Sergeant Barnes. Because of course he would recognize him. They were threatening a war together. That's his friend. Yeah. And I never picked up on that before. They actually called him by name Sergeant Barnes. I was like,
I'm going to pay attention now when I watch. Civil War, Winter Soldier, they're so rewatchable. They're because now they're showing them on TV. So if if they have Endgame on or Infinity War, you go, am I in the mood for this? Because it breaks your heart. It's very emotional. That's a heavy 2 movies.
I think Infinity War is great. I think I've only seen it twice for that very reason. And I'm looking forward to now, and as I'm building toward it, I'm looking forward to getting there. But it's not said if I'm flipping channels, I'll stay. But if Winter Soldier or Civil War is on, I'll stay.
I got it. I mean, the introduction of Spidey and Tony coming to see him in the apartment and all of that, like the dialogue, I'm sitting there watching it and I'm remembering, wow, this is the first time we see Spider-Man. And this, I feel like, I'm so excited. I love it. I still grip Mikey's hand and get excited like a little kid when they do the they show the Marvel logo.
Yeah.
This is my DNA they're showing on the screen. Like things that are part of who I am. I'm like, the world is seeing.
Yeah.
It's like if they play a deeper cut of Harry Chapin on the radio. I'm like, everybody shut up and listen.
Yes.
Yeah. You're not playing Cats in the Cradle, which I still get the joy from, but everybody knows Cats in the Cradle. You give me Taxi or WLD, I'm like, shut up and listen to this. Yeah. This is me. You're here. So when I see that logo, same thing with DC.
Yeah.
I'm like,
in Winter Soldier, there's that great moment whenever Rumlow comes in and orders them to launch the ships. And the one little nerdy guy's like, can't do it. Captain's orders. Captain's orders guy comes back in Avengers 2.
Really?
Whenever Nick Fury shows up with the helicarrier to get everybody off Sokovia. Captain's orders guy is the guy flying the ship.
Nice. See?
Yeah,
and like details.
And like the Jasper Sitwell, the
sure.
hydrator. He's in those movies as far back as I think in Thor.
Yeah, he is.
And you see him again in small parts, but it's always the same guy.
We talked about this, but the night that we went and saw Winter Soldier, we came home in time to watch the episode of S.H.I.E.L.D. that ties into it.
Yeah.
And it was the payoff for that season. And we went, wow, this was well done. We were lucky to watch it in real time and go, oh, repercussions, holy crap.
Yeah.
S.H.I.E.L.D. is Hydra, here's a story. You'll appreciate this. So when we went to Chiller a couple weeks ago, besides seeing Mark Lynn-Baker, we saw Harrison Page, who was Captain Trunk in Sledgehammer.
Okay.
Which he was the reason I wanted to go. I mean, there's sometimes we go to see people because they're a must. If Richard Dean Anderson is somewhere that I can go to, I'm seeing that. I'm going there. When Mike Nesmith was alive, obviously we went to Chiller to see him. And, but they had they always have a wide range. They have classic actors. They have actors that are active now that are just, their movie just came out. So you're not getting people who haven't acted. You're getting everybody. We saw the Chips guys were there, Eric Estrada and Larry Wilcox, and the captain, Robert Pine.
Yeah. Chris Pine's dad.
Which, as we're in line to see him, I turned to the kids. I said, Chris Pine? Yeah, this is his dad. They went, oh, I'm like, yeah. So, but I went and talked to Larry Wilcox and Robert Pine because they were both on MacGyver episodes. So instead of talking about Chips, which everybody knows, I'm like, no, we're going to discuss MacGyver because you got the MacGyver guy who's going to appreciate what you did. And they were impressed that,
yeah,
like, oh, wow, okay. But Robert Pine is always working. As a matter of fact, he's telling us about a show he's on right now. He's like, you got to go home and check this out. I'm like, okay, sir. Yeah. So, and who else was there? We didn't go to see him because you got limited time. You also have limited money.
Right.
You can't get a picture with everybody. From Lethal Weapon, Danny Glover.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, he was there. He, big line for him, and that's nice. Webster was there, Jenny Garth. But again, you got to pick who you're going to see. And so I went to go see Harrison Page, and he loved the fact that, like, I appreciated him and the family. That, like, your kids watch Sledgehammer? I'm like, you're darn right they do. He's like, this was worth the trip alone to see you guys. And we thought, you know what? I'm going to go see Peter Billingsley. Peter Billingsley, as you know, is Messy Marvin.
Yeah.
He's Ralphie from Christmas Story because they had the kids from the Christmas
More importantly, he's not Tony Stark.
Right? Which is, I knew you would get that connection. Yeah. So, and not everybody realizes that that's him. He's got the shaved head. He's, but he's got those bright blue eyes that you could see from space.
Yeah.
Well, he also is a mutual friend of mine, Holly Fields, who's an actress and voice actress and was on MacGyver and Quantum Leap, and she's become a friend of me. So we had talked about him and a conversation that he had on the MacGyver podcast. I edited it out because it was more of a private conversation, but point is they knew each other. So I thought, while we're there, it's him and a bunch of the kids from Christmas Story. I'll go say hi. We don't know where he is. We're walking around. We're walking down a hallway where if you go into that room, you can see that person, a couple people in that room. There's some model of toys or whatever in that room. All right. And then we go down to the end of the hall where there's nobody, but I'm being curious. So I just keep walking. worst thing that's going to happen is I'm going to find a dead hallway.
Right.
We turn, and by the way, it's hot as can be because the air conditioning only works in certain rooms. So we go down and we're like, oh, it seems like there's people at the end of this longer hallway away from everybody. We walk in and there's the table and I see a bunch of the kids from A Christmas Story. I'll get to them. I'll say hi to them. But I thought, all right, first and foremost, we're in the room where Peter Billingsley is. And I don't know if I'm sure you know this. The whole point is to go up, shoot the bull with someone. You get maybe, if you're a logical, reasonable person, 5 minutes. Right? And then you don't want to be too greedy.
Right.
Even if there's not anybody behind you, 5 minutes.
You don't want to be a lingerer.
Exactly. And I've seen those at anything I've been at. And you're like, dude, walk away. So you walk up, you shoot the bull. If you want a picture signed or something signed, or if you want to get a picture at the table, you could. They'll do the more expensive ones with the blue screen behind you or whatever.
Right.
You want at, say, 2 o'clock. You go to this room at 2 o'clock if you want. But you still can get a picture at the table. You pay him $40.
Yeah.
That's reasonable. That's fine. We did it with Mark Lynn Baker and Harrison Page and Larry Wilcox. So I walk up and there's a guy sitting there counting money or whatever, looking at his phone. I don't know what he was doing. But I walk up, I said, excuse me, Peter around? Is this where he's got? Yeah, that's him right there behind that curtain. Behind the curtain? Okay. What? Why? He's doing a signing. So I think in my head, it's a private signing. It's something special. He'll be out. I said, oh, okay. I want to say hi. We just wanted to say hi to him. We'll wait. Oh, no. The guy says, you have to buy something in order to see him. What? Yeah, look, here's our price range. And you have to buy a picture. You cannot gaze your eyes upon Peter Billingsley.
That's weird.
Unless, it gets worse. Unless you buy something for him to sign. And, he's not doing pictures at the table. Oh, no. You have to go get the professional picture done at 3 o'clock. And I look down at the prices and a picture to just get signed, $88 to start with. That's the lowest price.
See, I mean, the thing is, I'm super sympathetic of guys who do this kind of convention circuit because they're working. They're there to earn, and I get that. But that kind of barrier on it, all it does is kind of create it creates a resistance. It creates a resentment.
And that's what he got. Who the heck do you think you are? I mean, the other guys from the movie are sitting there like this because they know that's hurting them.
Yeah.
Because you just disgusted everybody who came to see you because you're a greedy SOB. You know how much it was to get a professional picture done? $300.
That's crazy.
We laughed and said, no thanks, Ming Ming, and we left. We laughed out loud because of your Ming Ming, your messy Marvin. I'm in a room with Mike Nesmith and Richard Dean Anderson.
I mean, the only time I've ever done like one of those professional photo op photos was with Christopher Eccleston at a couple of years ago at Goffrey. It was nowhere near that price.
No, and there's no reason.
And Eccleston's only American show he'd ever done. He'd never even done a Who convention before.
Right.
He was a great guy, and even when I was in there, he took his time for the photo op. He was great, and it was not remotely $3 billion.
No. Because I told you, Mike Nesmith, coincidentally, and Richard Dean Anderson said, I'm doing this because I need at least 5 minutes with every person. Don't rush me. Do not take advantage of the price. And Mike Nesmith said, the money that I make, or not Mike Nesmith, Richard Dean Anderson said, the money that I make, other than what you have to pay the handlers, I want you to take my portion of it, give it to charity. I'll tell you what charity, but give that money to them. So he and Mike Nesmith were very much about you.
Yeah.
They realize that people are coming to see them, to tell them how much they love them. You know, it's a great gig. You get to give your money to what you want. So the idea of Peter Billingsley,
yeah,
and you could tell everybody else was like this at the table because we were so disgusted. We left, and afterwards thought, oh, you know what? I probably could have talked to whoever.
Vargas or whatever. Yeah.
And
he, if you'd been sitting at that long table with them, you put him at the right side as the anchor, they would have, all four of those guys. And by the way, if you gotta be mercenary about it, if you're the four guys, kick a piece of your money down to him to be the anchor for you. Everybody, a high tide still raises all boats.
You're exactly
behind a curtain like that. Oh.
Instead, he ruined it for everybody. And as a matter of fact, years ago, I had met what's his name? Flip, right? The guy who is also in the toy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I had met him twice without intending to. He was there because what he does on the side is he has or had a sports store.
I was gonna say I've accidentally met him 2 or 3 times too, because the sports card stuff around
right
in the last 20 years. Yeah.
And so I was standing there and talking to a couple of the people from the Bad News Bears. Well, he was their guy to arrange it, I guess, through his sports store. So he's standing there. Well, he's right in front of me. I recognize him. I'm with my little boy who had just started to watch the Christmas Story. I didn't make a big deal out of it. I just turned and said, oh, hey, how you doing? That's what I said. There was nothing more. There was nothing less. And he goes, hi, I'm not here for that. What?
You're not here for a greeting? All right.
Yeah, I'm not here. I'm not here.
Are you not a human?
It was ridiculous. It was comical. He goes, I'm here for them. Good for you. I'm just saying hello to you. And he goes, oh, all right, because I'm not here for, Christmas Story and the toy and everything. You're not here for your benefit. You're here for them is what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. I'm just saying hi to you. I don't want anything from you. Oh. And we walked away. And then a couple years later, same thing. Saw him again. Bumped into him. I said, oh, hey, how are you? Hi. I said, relax. I've met you before. He's like, oh, okay. Like, how you doing? All right, good. And I walked away and I thought, get over yourself, dude. Come on.
But you know who is great at convention signings and dealing with fans and handling that whole thing? And clearly it's like, it's something he's there to earn, but he just handles it perfectly, is Sam Jones.
Sure. He was on Stargate.
I saw him on a show, and man, he's just so eager to talk to fans and like so approachable, and like it's like everything else. You're paying for an autograph, but he's smart about what he's got there. And if you come up with your own stuff, you pay a little bit less for an autograph, whatever. I'm never gonna be mad about that, because that's what they're there for. They're earning. I get it.
Well, it depends on the individual. They're not everybody's there to earn, but they do have to pay their people.
Yeah, you're paying your expenses. Yeah.
Right. But the people who I admire the most don't need the money, but are there for you. But you're right. Almost everybody that I've ever met at these things have been wonderful. They're kind, they're human. The only one who was not happy to be there and did not appreciate people being there to talk to him was the guy from Seinfeld who was Elaine's boss.
Jay Peterman?
Jay Peterman.
Really?
Jay, it was almost comical, because again, we didn't have to walk up to him at all. Like, they had the soup Nazi there who was trying to squeeze as much out of you as he could.
Soup Nazi's a bit of a mercenary.
You want to buy a ladle? I got a ladle. I'll sign it for you. I'm like, no, dude, you're lucky I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
But then at another convention, we walked by, and there's the guy who's Jay Peterman, and has done a lot of stuff. He used to host the game show and everything. So we see him, and he's like this. He's just like, no, it was one fist. It was like, oh, ho hum. He didn't look happy. He looked bored. So I thought, all right, nobody's talking to him. Let's go over and say hi. Make it worth his while. I go, hi. He looks up. He's like, hi. How's it got? You having a good day? It's all right. Okay. So, and I'm like trying to talk to him, but he just did not care. I felt like I was bothering him. I said, look, kids, he did the voice of this character that you know, and and we walked away just going like, wow, dude, don't bother then, because you got happy people trying to tell you nice things about you.
Well, because it's a two-edged sword. The one thing, yes, they're there to earn, but you also it needs to be understanding. You're also on stage.
This is the thing I'm saying.
You don't need to perform. You don't need to sing. You don't need to be my dancing monkey, but you need to be actively engaged and ready to talk to people. Otherwise, why even be there?
I said to many people, but I think I had said it to Richard Dean Anderson. I said, I appreciate, because at the end, the first time I met him years ago, at the end of it, I was there the whole weekend. So I saw him each day. And when it was over, I happened to be there, and he came over to talk to the person who's in charge of his website, and I'd become friends with, and we spent the weekend just hanging around together. He comes over and he talks to us, and it was really cool because he really is just the nicest, sweetest guy to everybody. But he also felt safe with us. Like, we're not after him because he's MacGyver and whatever. We just like him and appreciate him. He had a headache, though. He said to her, I guess they were supposed to go talk or whatever. He goes, can we do this another time? I got a massive headache. It's bad. And he turns to me, I said, I completely understand it, because you have to be on. Mm-hmm. You are on. You are, like you said, attentive and giving your all to everybody. You make sure everybody feels special, and I love that about you. So now that's your body saying enough. And he's like, yeah, you get it. And he goes, you gotta always remember. And he points to my shirt that said, what would MacGyver do? But yeah, you could tell like he was.
Well, I mean, it's funny the difference in shows. Like if I do now I got Comic-Con or WonderCon and I have a signing, that's like an hour or two out of like a full day, and I'm doing other stuff. So it's no big deal. It's easy. But on the rare occasions when I'll do the Star Trek convention in Vegas, where I'm actually working a table signing all day, that's where you've got to be on all day. And that people don't understand it when you say it's work, because I'm not digging a ditch, obviously, but I'm still actively engaged and talking to people and trying to make sure that when they walk away from the table, they had a good experience. And it's absolutely draining. It's work.
I know it. I mean, that's why I always tell people I appreciate what you do. You're here. And by the way, those chiller conventions, for example, they're there for 3 days.
Yeah.
From 10 till 7.
Yeah, no, it's a full pull.
Nez, last time I saw him, I happened to run into the girl that was sitting with them. And I said, oh, you got a little break? She goes, yeah. Nez went to go up and have a nap.
Yeah.
And he had said, he goes, yeah, I take daily naps now just because I'm on and you need to let your body relax.
Yeah, no, totally.
But yeah, I mean, 99.9% of any interaction I've had with anybody who's in the spotlight, to whatever degree, they're wonderful.
Yeah.
They're good people, and they're deserving of all that they have. And when you get that rare guy,
yeah,
No,
I mean, it's pretty cool. I've been a professional nerd going on like 30 years now, and I can count on one hand the number of bad experiences I had on either side. So I mean, that's pretty good odds. I mean, you find for the most part between both fans and like the guys who are like professionals doing stuff, everyone's trying to just make sure everyone has a good time and get through the day.
Mm-hmm. Well, that reminds me, I wanted to ask you on a comic book level, how'd your Mirror War go?
Oh, the stickers went great.
Yeah.
Yeah, the really super well received. Sales were really good. Yeah, I was really happy with it. I was really happy the way it came out.
I have to catch up because again, I'm trying to read them in the order that you told me before the crossovers before we get to Mirror War.
Yeah.
So that way I could just dive right into it and get in big clumps.
Really good. And also, just for a bit of crass commercialism, the newest book released out right now, IDW is going back and doing a full catalog release of all their Star Trek work.
Yeah.
And this is the second volume, just came out about a month ago. And one of my favorite next gen stories I wrote, Intelligence Gathering, is now back in print in that one. So that's out in shops right now.
I was going to ask, like, what's the latest with you? What's coming out?
This year, right now I got some things in the irons in the fire, but nothing I can talk about yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm always checking your page to go, what can I forward to the site and kind of get more eyes on it for you? And I thought, all right, let me check in with you on that. I haven't watched the third season of Picard yet.
Oh, dude. You have no idea what you're in for. You have no idea.
But I love it.
You have no idea how good that third season is.
I'm going to get to it soon.
It restored my faith in Star Trek television.
Okay.
Not that I mean, I really liked the last season of or the first season of Strange New Worlds. I thought Strange New Worlds was great. I love the new Pike. I love the new Spock is great.
I hear good things.
But third season of Picard, it's Next Generation season 8.
That's what they said. That's what it's the way that if you're going to bring if you want people to have new stuff, you better do that. And that's what they need to do for Stargate.
And it's the finale movie that Next Gen deserved and didn't get.
Okay.
Because that last Next Gen movie, Nemesis, was directed by a guy who did not like Star Trek and didn't care about it, and it showed. And this Picard season 3 undoes everything that was wrong about that, gives the entire crew the proper send-off they deserve while still keeping it focused on Picard since it's his show. It's I can't say enough good things about it. It's amazing.
Well, my wife was always, before I came along, Star Trek Next Generation was her favorite show until I introduced her to Stargate. But she always talks about it. And we were talking about how it's tough for me to go back and just randomly watch a Next Generation because of the way it was filmed. Very static, 3-camera kind of thing, where you see the new Picard or the new Star Trek where it's much more of the time, and the light flat, like the lighting is better and it doesn't feel like you're on a sound stage and whatever. Well, I watched the first 2 seasons of Picard, and I love the little cameo with your name on it. I was so for you. You lucky son of a bitch. You're in there.
My Twitter melted down that morning.
Oh, sure. But tell me what you think. It felt like each season kind of dragged a little bit. Like the premise was great. Like let's use the second season, for example. Oh crap, you're gone back in time. That sounds great. You got alternate timelines. That sounds great. But then it kind of went off on its own weird thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I think a lot of season 1 and 2, and I have no inside knowledge, just from watching it and reading stuff in interviews and that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there was a concerted effort to make those first 2 seasons be Picard centric, but not so much like Next Gen. And I think in the course of doing that, some of the pacing suffered. I think there was a little bit of meandering in the storytelling, as they're not quite knowing where they wanted to go. Mm-hmm. I think it's great. I think second season is better than first season, but nothing compares to third season.
That's what I hear. So
I might go back and also, because I got a lot of vacation time this month for the holidays. I might go back and do a rewatch of season 3 again too.
Well, it was funny because somebody was going on about, when it premiered, they're like, season 3 is so good. And I said, oh, good. I'm almost done with season 2. And they're like, no,
Yeah.
You don't have to watch the rest of season 2. Just get to season 3. I'm like, all right, relax. You know, I have 2 episodes left. And again, it's not my original point of bringing up shows was there's a lot of shows I want to watch. There's a lot. And they're there. And I'm at the point where not only do I have to be in the mood for something, I have to remember what it was.
Yeah.
Like we're so blessed that I'm like, oh crap, I did enjoy that show. I got to go back to it. Like I have to watch the rest of Titans, even though there's so many freaking, like the vulgarity of it is so stupid and childish. It's still Titans. I still got to watch it. I still have to go back and watch Doom Patrol.
Yeah. I think a half season of Brave and the Bold I need to go back and catch up that I never watched. I love that series. The animated series.
Did you?
Yeah, that series is fantastic. So much fun, but still heart when it needs to and super reverent of the classic DC comics of the Silver Age.
Right. Well, see, and there's the difference. I can appreciate it now in hindsight. But when it was out, I was infuriated.
Because you're on the Tales of Batman animated series.
Thank you.
I didn't get to appreciate it until it had been on for a couple of years, and then I realized the genius of what they were doing.
Mm-hmm. Right, and that's the thing. And I can go back and appreciate it now because it didn't destroy the memories of the great series. Same thing. Like I started showing the kids episodes of Beware the Batman.
Yeah, that one was a harder sell for me just because it was so different, and they made such a concerted effort to not use the classic rogues.
Right. However, they also didn't let all the episodes air.
Yeah,
they yanked that before it really began because guns or whatever the reason was. But they were showing late night. I recorded it. Even now I have a Fire Stick, so I don't need to worry about it. But at the time, I was like, they're showing the episodes that never aired at like midnight on Toonami. Yeah. You know, boom, 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 boom. So there's no break in my recording. I just went to sleep one night and knew it was going to be over at 6 a.m. So I got up at 6 and turned off the recorder. But I have a disc full of those episodes. They're great. Not everybody knows that, though, because unless you either bought the disc or took the effort to watch them on a Fire Stick, they tie together and set up what was going to be next. Like that first season was what you said. They're not using the classic rogues. They're going a different way. They're bringing in Katana, you know.
Yeah.
But visually it was exciting. The angles they used were very dynamic and the story was very smart and you couldn't predict what was going to happen, but they all wrapped it up in the end. And then what was going to happen was going to be closer to the Batman that we all know with the rogues and bringing that type of thing. But just like with Justice League Action, that was excellent, but got yanked before it even began.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of the second season barely aired once.
Of what? Justice League Action?
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a second season.
Yeah.
Because they decided we're going to put this on at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. Why aren't people watching it? Well, let me say.
I picked up both seasons on disc.
Me too.
Because I don't even think Justice League Action is on Max.
Really?
Well, don't get me started on Max.
10, 15 minutes long? Is that what they were just very short?
Yeah, 15-minute episodes.
So you're getting like 2 episodes in a half hour.
Yeah. And I think it was 2 seasons of 22.
They were so good. Like the one with Batman and Blue Beetle going back in time and watching Batman on his first night out.
Yeah. And then
right?
There's that one that's all Mark Hamill characters.
Yes. And he's the Joker, he's the trickster, and he's himself.
Yeah, and I think Swamp Thing too.
Yeah. I thought, wow, I love that crap.
Yeah.
I don't understand the mentality of these people that are in charge. Why would you make something so good and then bury it?
Well, that's the thing. That's the problem is those are 2 different people. There's people who make it and the people that decide where it runs.
Right.
That's what's right. And then Well, I mean, that goes right back to what we were talking about with with Warner Brothers and their new insane boss who just decides, hey, here's a completed movie. Let's not show it for tax reasons.
Right?
I was so happy that the Coyote versus Acme thing really came back to bite him on that one.
What happened?
Okay, so first with Batgirl and that Scooby-Doo movie, and they were both almost done, and he burned them. They'll never be shown for the tax write-off.
Right.
There's a completed movie called Coyote versus Acme, where the Wile E. Coyote sues Acme because all the junk never works and he keeps getting hurt. It's based on this hilarious New Yorker article, and it's completed, and it's done Roger Rabbit style with human actors and cartoon characters together. John Cena plays the head of Acme that Wile E. Coyote is going into court against. This thing has crazy good ratings as far as previews, and it's completely done. And the head of Warner Bros. Said, you know what? Yeah, we don't want to spend the money to promote it, and it's not where we want to go. So we're also going to shelf this one and just take the tax write-off on it. And the story got out, and people with this one, there had been enough preview screenings that people knew it was a good movie. And over the weekend, all these people are coming out on social media saying, why would anybody work for Warner Brothers now, knowing they could do this to you at any minute and pull the rug out from one of your projects? Over the weekend, apparently a host of directors and actor producers canceled all their meetings with Warner Brothers. Saying, we're not going to work with you anymore. Why would we? Why would we take the risk? Monday, he comes back, we've decided instead to open this up and see if other producers would like to buy it. So now it's either going to be Netflix or Amazon Prime. Somebody's going to buy distribution of this thing and get it out there so it can be seen.
So that one movie will get seen. The Wile E. Coyote.
Coyote will. Unfortunately, Batgirl, I think that has legitimately been destroyed, which also maddening.
That's what they said. Yeah, I read or saw a video where the guy was like, I went back to get it. I went back to snag it before, and they already had deleted deleted it.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
The Firefly didn't look good from the shot that I saw.
Brendan Fraser, I really would love to see what he would have done with it.
Me too. But I mean, the mask itself, again,
before the movie, a really dynamic looking character visually, so I didn't really care what they did with him visually, as long as. But if there was some good character stuff there, but yeah, Actors Coyote is now most likely going to be on, I think, Amazon Prime.
Well, that's good. I don't understand the mentality of these people. Like besides, okay, maybe it's not your thing, but it's your company and it's your studio that you're working for, and the freaking thing's already made.
It's such short-term thinking. If you don't want to promote it and spend the $30 million on promotion for theatrical, fine, put it on your streamer and it lives forever and makes you money.
Exactly. See, that's yeah. Okay, they're like, well, Batgirl, it's not even part of this new DCU that we're doing. It doesn't matter. Multiverse, you've already made the general public aware of. So not everything has to tie in. You can just enjoy a movie or see a TV series and just let it go.
What's particularly bad about Acme vs. Coyote is that when he pulled that stunt with Batgirl and with Scooby-Doo, he made a point of talking to all their creative partners. This is a one-time thing because of the situation we're in. With the merger, this is not something we would ever do normally. Don't worry about your projects. This will never happen again. And then he did it again with Acme vs. Coyote.
Yeah. Well, I only heard a little bit of the Scooby-Doo thing. That one got completely wiped too. And it was all done except for I think it needed to be scored. They hadn't done the orchestra score yet. What was the premise?
I forget what that one was. I think it might have been a Halloween movie or a holiday movie, maybe.
Live action?
No, it was fully animated.
Why would you get rid of it?
Yeah, I don't understand.
They're cranking out Scooby-Doo DVD movies all the time.
They're
technically good too.
Yeah.
Do we talk about the Zombie Island?
Yeah, and the one with Blue Falcon was great.
That was great. Yeah. I own that one.
Yeah.
I got that one on my digital library, whatever. I'm like, yeah, that was surprising. The only problem I had with that one was they make Scooby be the voice of reason for Shaggy.
Yeah, that is the word.
Right? He gives this big speech. No. You're not deep.
Yeah.
You're not the one who's going to make that speech with him. That was the only problem I had with it. The rest I thought was great. It was visually fantastic, and I enjoyed the origin story. And
Yeah.
Did you watch the Scooby-Doo series that they had on where they would bring in the old?
Those were great.
They were great. I mean, some of their choices, I don't know what the heck they were thinking.
There's one with my buddy Harlan on it.
What is it?
There's one with Harlan Ellison as a guest star.
Really?
Yeah, it was great. I think it was like a detective club meeting, and somehow Harlan was involved. It was really fun.
See, and they did one with Urkel, but they did it well because nobody liked Urkel. It wasn't like, oh, come on and join the game. They're like, oh, crap.
Nah, Urkel's was. Because I remember as a kid, there's that one season of the Scooby-Doo movies that were all guest stars.
Yeah.
And it was so weird. Like, I always turn on just in case it was the Batman one. It never was. Instead, it'd be Sandy Duncan or Mama Cass.
Yep. Yeah. Well, but you know what? Through that, I got to learn who these people were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I didn't realize at the time Davy Jones did one, and this is years before I knew who the Monkees were.
Well, this is something I talk about a lot with people, where they talk about how kids today don't know certain topical references from like 30 or 40 years ago. And like, well, the difference was when we were kids, there were only 3 channels.
Right.
And so most of what was on TV, if it wasn't new, was stuff from the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Yep. And so that's how you learned everything. I mean, I got to know who like Bogart was, or who Peter Lorre was from watching Looney Tunes.
Yep.
Or I knew about Ralph or Jackie Gleason before I ever saw the Honeymooners because of the mouse version. Because there's that mouse version of the Honeymooners from Warner Brothers.
Yep.
And that's where you pick up your knowledge of pop culture through osmosis.
That and the Muppet Show.
Yeah.
And Sesame Street. They would bring in. I mean, James Taylor's singing Up on the Roof on top of one of the buildings.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I like this song. And, oh, okay, so I'm going to remember who this guy is. Who's that guy? Paul Simon? Yeah, I like him too.
Yeah.
Wow. Meanwhile, there's other people who you would never see again. Like, we talked about this. Who was the first guest on The Muppet Show? Because they filmed in England.
Oh, God. First one. I forget. It was definitely.
It was an obscure actor or actress who you went, okay. I haven't seen them before or since, but
yeah, especially
at that moment, they were something.
There's a lot of that,
right?
Yeah,
and I only found out probably from talking to you or shortly before that they filmed in England.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, well, that would explain a lot, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'm still going through all 4 seasons of those on Disney Plus now. It's great just having those at my fingertips.
Yeah, I have to make a point to do that. But again, it's we're using the Fire Stick, and the kids and I did go through a phase of watching the new Muppet Show, and so I started showing them the classic Muppet Show. Yeah. Like I'm talking about the new Muppet Show that's great. Of it's almost like The Office.
Yeah, that was fun.
I loved it, and there's great moments that we still reference.
Mm-hmm.
And now I guess I didn't get to see Muppet Mayhem.
Yeah, that was good. It was fun.
I'll check it out because they're not making another season.
Yeah, and then their Halloween special last year with the Haunted Mansion, that was great.
Okay, I was curious. I didn't know whether to dive into that.
Yeah.
Oh, did I tell you we finally watched? Yeah, I must have. I'm sure we talked since then. We finally watched Christmas Carol. Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh yeah,
I get it.
Yeah,
I understand why it's such a classic. What's the joke that they said? Michael Caine said, "I'm going to play it serious."
Yeah,
serious, and that's what sells it.
Yeah, he's playing Scrooge like he's playing an opposite a normal cast. He doesn't go light or funny at all. And that's what makes it work.
Beautiful, and it's so that there's that part that always it makes you cry. I'm like, holy crap!
And I mean, Paul Williams music.
Always Paul Williams.
No one wrote better music for the Muppets
I'm telling you.
It's
Well,
just
we talked about it, but I play it every couple weeks on my YouTube. It's a sad song that used
yeah,
to
oh
be
yeah,
that
that's so good.
Oh, it's so powerful. It's better than the recorded version.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The album version.
Yeah, yeah,
Because it's got their harmony.
yeah.
It's a much better condensed version. It's got that great build. And in the end, he's just like,
Yeah.
and Ralph is like, and puts the piano thing down.
That's one of two Muppet clips I always go back to. That one, and then the one with Linda Ronstadt. There's a Linda Ronstadt Kermit the Frog duet at the end of her episode. And again, with all the Muppets coming in to sing the harmonies. And then Linda Ronstadt just blows the roof off the joint with her voice. It's amazing. And you watch that and you realize, okay, this is why everybody in the world was in love with Linda Ronstadt in 1970.
Oh, sure. That pure power and
and she's
emotion.
gorgeous in that voice,
But you know what drives me nuts? They didn't use her correctly in her record career. Like every song you hear, it's her doing a remake of a Everly Brothers or Roy Orbison song.
Yeah,
I'm like, she was too good to waste. Let her sing her own stuff. I mean, she did, but it didn't get promoted like it should have.
Yeah, no. Go back to the Disney Plus and pull up that Linda Ronstadt episode. It's great.
Well, who's another one? I always watch the ones with Williams because him singing just an old fashioned love song and the other coming out, and it's one, and then it's two, and and then it's everybody joining in, and then they all go back in just on the last note, and it closes.
Yeah,
that's great. And then of course, what's his face doing the African song with the tribe.
The Belafonte episode. Yeah,
that's a great. I'm telling you,
that's amazing.
They're so rewatchable.
Yeah, and go check out the Debbie Harry episode too.
Oh, listen, when I was a boy, I loved me some Debbie Harry.
Debbie Harry and Kermit do a cover of Rainbow Connection.
Yes, they do.
So good.
And she's so adorable in it.
Yeah.
That episode, because she's like, I don't know. What are you doing? And as a little boy, I'm like, I just want to hug you. I don't have any romantic thoughts about things at the moment, but I just want you to hug me. Can I just That's that and Linda Carter. They were the ones that, what would you do if they were with you? I just want them to hold me. That's it.
Disney has been kind of hit or miss in their use of the Muppets in the theme parks. But the amazing thing they did last year, I think it was last year, around Christmas time, is at Disneyland here, this bus would come down Main Street like twice a night, and the Muppets would be on the bus. And the bus would come out and they would let us sing Christmas carols. It was so well done.
See, I always look at your pictures and I'm like, you lucky son of a bee. And, of course, you go to Avengers site and everything. I'm like, I want to hear what the latest is there. You always take good pictures. I'm like, oh, crap. You got Spider-Man and Ant-Man and Doctor Strange.
They just opened up an Avengers shop in Avengers Campus that's inside Avengers HQ. And eventually, when they open the new crazy e-ticket Avengers ride, that's going to be the way out of the ride.
Oh, sure.
But they went ahead and opened the shop early, and they realized from how much money they were making over in Star Wars land selling all the lightsabers.
Yeah.
So now they sell all the props from the MCU at this store.
Oh.
So you can go in there and you can get the Tesseract.
Sure.
And then you can get the red goo from Thor: Dark World. And then you can get the Power Stone from Guardians. And as you collect all the gems, then you can get the gauntlet and put them on the gauntlet. They just now released Ronin's staff, which we saw again in the Marvels, which I haven't got. I need to get that one. And then the quality is super good. They released the Loki Pokey stick from Avengers.
Sure. Loki Pokey stick.
It's really, really good stuff.
And they got to have Thor's hammer.
Yeah, well, because Hasbro puts that stuff out in for wide release.
Yeah,
for all the super obscure stuff that it's only at Disneyland. And Black Panther's sister has those gauntlets.
Yes, with the panthers on them.
And not only do they light up and make a blast, but they've got a motorized recoil. So when they fire off, it's like,
oh,
really, really cool stuff.
Man.
Yeah. No, I'm heading back to the parks next week for my Christmas visit. So
Sure.
we'll
Do they
see
do
what-
like Christmassy stuff?
What the Disneyland for Christmas is just insane. One thing I'm not going to go this year because I'm still a little bit COVID shy of crowds.
Sure.
Disneyland has a secret Christmas concert that they don't publicize it, and they don't advertise it. It always happens on the first weekend in December, and they close the entire front of the park where the train station is.
Yeah,
that becomes the orchestra pit.
Oh.
There's a Christmas tree made up of choir singers, trumpeters on top of the train station. Choirs from all over California start at the back of the park with candles, do a candlelight carol sing through the park up the front, and then every year is a celebrity narrator who comes in to tell the story of Christmas.
Wow.
In years past, I saw Lin-Manuel Miranda do it. I saw Chris Pratt do it. I saw Patrick Stewart do it. Dick Van Dyke one year. Gary Sinise was great. And they never announced in advance. So you don't know who it is till you get there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't you just freaking love Christmas?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you not love Christmas?
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
I'm so on board.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now I'm going to go back and start from the beginning because I didn't get all the way through Hawkeye when I started it last year. I'm like at episode 3 or 4. And because again, so much to watch. Yeah. And then you got to remember what it is that you really wanted to watch. And some things feel more like a commitment than others. Like I'm trying to get through. I've watched two episodes of Fall of the House of Usher.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet.
It's by the same guy who did The Haunting of Bly House, and it's if you're into the long burn, that's fine. The payoff is never really there for me, and it's based on Edgar Allan Poe, but it's modern day, and it's one of those heavy shows where everybody's horrible, and yet you're supposed to feel bad when they die tragically.
Yeah,
so I'm trying to like navigate what do I want to watch and what do I have to watch, and what I don't want to wait too long to watch something.
Yeah, but
I think I'm going to start back, and now that I tell the kids after Halloween, you could start enjoying Christmas stuff.
Yeah, I try and wait until at least December 1st.
I used to, and I just thought, wait a minute, if I could be happy sooner.
That's not fair. That's a fair point,
right? It's not that I ignored Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving is kind of Christmas warm up for me.
Yeah, I did just pick up. They released a new Blu-ray set of all of the Rankin Bass Christmas specials.
Oh,
in one box set.
Wow.
So that I'm looking forward to dive into that. I'll do my thing every year where I'll dive into all of the Doctor Who Christmas specials, which are all just great.
Aren't they? The what is the one? It's one of the more recent ones with 12. The Husbands of River Song.
Yeah, that one. Oh.
That is such a payoff because that goes back to the library episode.
That last scene in that one just breaks your heart. So
right?
Yeah.
Because Doctor Who, it's great that we're segueing into this. Doctor Who, as you know, to be a fan is to be disappointed. Doctor Who has great potential, but they don't give you what you want. You don't get the time travel repercussion sort of, wave of stuff because they do the fixed point thing.
This is why I'm so excited about the new season, because the one time for me that wasn't true was whenever Russell T Davies was on it.
That's right. Yeah.
The Davis gives Doctor Who an emotionality that otherwise it avoids.
Right.
Not afraid to be romantic. It's not afraid to be sentimental.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, for me, it's been diminishing returns ever since he left.
Right.
I liked Matt Smith. I thought got repetitive. I always liked the actors. I thought Capaldi was great.
Capaldi's great, but his first half of his run is horrible.
And then I thought Jodie Whittaker was a great doctor, given the worst material to work with.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the fact that they did the whole, guess what? There's not just this many doctors. There's trillions.
That's like just I hate that's such the cheapest kind of cop out reveal. Yeah. I didn't dig that.
Well, I think they're going to ignore it.
Well, what's so smart is bringing back Tennant and Tate just for these three, just to get everybody back inside the tent, and then from there bring in the new guy. Genius. And we're going back to Christmas specials too this year.
I love it.
We have new Christmas special.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That the River Song episode, I went, wow. They're actually going back to the script and going, you had a new haircut, you wore a new suit, you know, and you go, we get to see her whole arc now.
Yeah, finally.
The only thing I hope they do, and it'd be great if it were Tennant that did it, even though it probably won't, have him save her. She's stuck. You know, because her first episode is technically her last adventure. She's stuck.
It's funny. I want them to do that, and yet I don't.
Right.
Because it's that particular, her debut episode was such a perfect tragedy, and yet it found a way that they could keep bringing her back without undoing that.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
But now you've closed it off.
Yeah, it's kind of the way I feel about Downey's Iron Man for the movies. I hate to see you bring him back because his ending was so perfect for the movie. But yeah, but as far as Christmas specials go, every year I gotta watch. I gotta go through all the Tennant Christmas specials for sure, because every one of those is genius.
Agreed. And I mean, you know, Tennant is one of those guys who I could watch in anything and love because his face is so entertaining and his emotion is great. So I love that we're getting more of him. I love his love of Doctor Who.
I love that they're going to find a way to give us back Donna for a few episodes.
How about that? I mean, that's, again, you're bringing things back. You're going, you know, we're getting what we love and going back to it. And after the tragedy of that last run, Doctor Who needed it.
It really does,
because it was so bad. It was.
And I'm also glad that it's going to be on Disney Plus.
The budget's higher.
Well, A, the budget is higher, and B, that's opening up to an audience who has no idea what Doctor Who is.
Yeah.
And if there's anybody who's good at selling people who are new to Doctor Who on the idea of Doctor Who, it's Davis.
Yeah.
So the timing of it all is perfect.
And Eccleston was nice, huh?
Eccleston was a sweet guy. He was so good. I was so happy.
He seems to have finally understood how much his role meant.
I'll tell you, it happened at that show because that was his first convention. He'd never done Doctor Who convention before, and he seemed just so shocked that because he only did that 1 year, and that his one. I don't think he ever really got a sense of what that one season meant to people. And because by the time I talked to him, he'd been there. It'd been 2 days. It's like I've heard nothing but stories about my run, and he seemed flabbergasted by it. It was great.
That's wonderful. Do you know where you're supposed to be? I hope it's true. Getting more Eighth Doctor. The Eighth Doctor is going to get his own series.
That rumor is going like crazy. I hope it's true.
I pray to God it's true, because that poor son of a bee. I understand he does the audio series, but he never got enough screen time.
And he's still young enough that he looks good and he looks like the same guy. Well, here's why I think they might do it. And it's funny if you look at like whenever they did a promotional thing for the new Doctor, and they'll show all the Doctors.
Yeah.
They never show him the way he looked in the Fox movie. They always show him now the way they have him dressed on the audio things. In his new suit, looking young and hot. It's like they got to know there's an audience for that.
Oh yeah. And he's such. I mean, that one little thing he did where it showed him become the War Doctor.
Yeah.
That was so freaking good, and it was only 5 minutes long.
Yeah, no.
I mean, it's the biggest injustice, I would say, of the whole Doctor Who universe. This guy he's still here.
Yeah.
You don't look that different.
It's like Kelsey Grammer again. He's like the best Doctor in the worst. And I wouldn't say that the Fox movie is the worst Doctor Who movie or show.
No, not at all.
But he had the worst run because it was only one movie.
Right.
So he had the least opportunity to actually really delve into it.
Right. I mean, it's so funny when people go, "Oh, the Fox movie, they Americanized it." Blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking, have you paid attention to the original Doctor's runs, like the original you had the wall that was shaking behind them, and it really, you needed to use a lot of your imagination to get through those. You know what I mean?
You had to help it.
Yeah, they couldn't help it. But there was also, obviously, the choices that they made. They would paint themselves into a corner and then just go, magic stick, boop, I'm out of it. And, and as much as that may have helped them at that moment, in the history of Doctor Who now, you kind of go, I'm frustrated. Like, you have so many loose ends, or they just didn't care, that now comes back to haunt you when you're watching stuff. You go, no, you can't just click your fingers and open a lock, or
I always tell people, because they always, whenever they ask me where to start watching or what to watch, I said, look, Doctor Who, it's like a buffet. There's good stuff on there, and there's stuff that's been sitting out too long you don't want to eat.
Very nice.
But you can find the great stuff in every Doctor. That there's good stuff to get in there and really enjoy.
Yep. And I always have my, say, top 5 or 6 that I will recommend for people. You got Blink.
Yeah.
The library one. What's the one? The one where they're on the train. 10th Doctor. Midnight. I love that. Is such a brilliant piece of film with them talking at this. I mean, that is done so well. You got Vincent and the Doctor.
Oh, that one's crazy good. Yeah.
Right? If you don't cry, you have no heart.
Yeah. The Turn Left also. Turn Left is great.
That's a great one.
The way that all comes together with Bad Wolf, just whoa! It's a great shock ending there. And the Eccleston premiere, the Rose, that first episode, because that one got me back in like crazy, because all I'd really see in Doctor Who was Tom Baker as a kid, but I watched that first episode of Eccleston, and I'm in.
Yeah, agreed. Oh, because he's so charming, he's so fun. He's got a little bit of an edge to him that you kind of want to go with him and see what's going to happen. And Father's Day. Father's Day
is great.
Right?
Of the Christmas specials, if you got to pick out one,
sure.
I forget the name of it, but the one with Kylie Minogue.
Yes. Oh, I know that one. Voyage of the Darned.
Yeah, that one, man.
Yeah. Well, she's counted as a what do you call it with him? They count her.
Yeah. Yeah, they should.
Yeah.
But that one really, you can just take it out by itself and show it to somebody. Okay, this is what Doctor Who was like. And okay.
And it's funny too, because he's wearing a tux through the whole thing. He's not even wearing his outfit.
Yeah.
Same thing like Blink. He's only in it for 2 seconds.
Yes. with the bow and arrow for some reason.
Like, I want to see where that went. I want to see
that.
Wait a minute. What was I going to tell you about that? What about the great one with the governor thinking he's the Doctor?
Oh, that one's really good.
Right? That's a Christmas one.
That's one of the best Christmas ones, because that was kind of the first time that on the Eccleston and Tennant, they really leaned into the fact that the other Doctors were around. And there's that moment where I think it's the first time in the Tennant run they showed video of all the other Doctors. And because you see when he gets one of those things from the Cybermen, and you see what brainwashed that guy thinking he was a Doctor, and you see all the faces, and they had never done that on the Tennant run before.
Wow. Yeah, that's great, because you're like, you don't know what to believe, but also you kind of like this guy. Like, you kind of hope he's a Doctor that you didn't know about.
Doctor, exactly.
Like, wow. It was great, because Mikey saw that before I showed him The Walking Dead.
Oh, jeez.
So we're going through the Walking Dead episodes, and he's past the governor now. He's like, I can't believe that's the same guy who was on Doctor Who.
Yeah, very, very different.
What's his name? David Morrissey?
Yes.
Yes. I can't believe that popped in there. Okay. Now, I know we got lots to talk about, but I think I should let you go. It's like 3.5 hours of us talking.
Yeah, cool. Well, we should do another one of these sooner.
Honest to God. I mean, if you don't mind me being a pest, I will.
I love doing this. Let's do a holiday edition in December.
I absolutely. Because you know what? like what always happens is I'm going to get off with you. I'm going to say bye. And then it's going to pop into my head. Oh, you should have mentioned this. Just mention that. My son will come up to me and go, did you talk about this? Or I'm like, no. So I'm going to start writing stuff down.
Hasbro West Coast Avengers Renaissance.
What?
We didn't even discuss the Hasbro West Coast Avengers Renaissance.
The toys?
Yeah, there's so much West Coast Avengers stuff out there right now.
Why?
I think the guys at Hasbro grew up with the West Coast Avengers, and the line's been going long enough that they're all right. Let's start getting crazy. There's a box set. There's Hawkeye on the Jet Cycle.
Oh,
which of course I had to buy 3 of because I need multiple.
Yes, yeah. You gave away some of your Jet Cycles, didn't you?
No, I gave away the Hawkeyes because I kept the cycles.
Oh, I wish I caught you sooner. I would have been one of the guys going, give me.
But yeah, there's great stuff coming from Hasbro. I'm going to be doing a piece for 13th Dimension about that in a couple of weeks. So that'll get clicked around. Today, in fact, over at 13th Dimension, I have a new piece. Every December, 13th Dimension has a program called Toy Ham, where it's pieces about vintage toys all Christmas month. And today, the first one went up. It's mine. And it's about the Mego Comic Action Heroes line.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So go check that out.
I will. I love that. Oh, we'll see. Now you're just going to spark me up for our next conversation. I'm like, okay, all right. I can't, because I'm telling you, when before you even reached out, I was so excited to talk with you about anything. And then once you did, I'm like, oh, we got to mention this. We got to talk about that. We got, and then you start formulating in your head the subjects that we barely always scratch the surface, but I guess that's good.
We'll do it again this month.
All right. Well, everybody, check out Scott's stuff. Obviously, you can't go wrong with the Star Trek and that great Doctor Who crossover that I love. That's what got me hooked. I told you that's what got me hooked into both shows. I gave both shows a chance.
I love hearing that.
Right? It's the truth. I'm like, okay, because again, with all your stuff, it captures the essence of what it's supposed to be.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Of course. And everybody, click like and subscribe. And there's up at the top of the screen, there's a donate thing if you want to leave a tip. That helps keep the lights on. We're doing this StreamYard thing so we can do live shows for you.
You can always find my stuff on Instagram and Facebook. I'm still on Twitter before it burns around, but while it is still around, I'll still be there too. And you can find me talking about all kinds of crazy nerd stuff there. So
and Blue Sky, your brother's on?
I haven't gotten that yet.
Your brother is.
Yeah, I think he is.
I followed him on there, and I'm always looking for you. So I think it's going to be the next Twitter. It's not as active yet because not everybody's made the switch.
Yeah,
but I'm joining everything. I figure, more ears, more eyes.
Exactly.
But all right, everybody, we will catch you later in the next episode within this month, a couple weeks maybe. We'll do because you know what? I'm off from the 8th until like right before Christmas. So I'll be sitting around during the day and I'll bug you then and we'll do another one of these.
Yeah, so same here.
Beautiful. All right, everybody. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, man.
And don't forget to stay not creative. That's the MacGyver one. Stay excited, everyone.
The Never Gets Old podcast is part of the Forever Adventure Network and made possible by your donations through Patreon. If you'd like to help us out, please go to the Forever Adventure Network by Mac Jackson on Patreon and help by subscribing, rating, and reviewing wherever podcasts are heard. We also have a Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube channel. The show's music is by Harmony Constant and available wherever music is sold. Thanks for listening, everybody. And remember, stay excited.
The Forever Adventure Network. Welcome to the adventure.